Harwich, this is Game 2 of the Cape League Championship Series. You heard it right there. Cotuit a chance to win their title at home for the first time since 1995, and Coach thinks they deserve it. They certainly do. Let's see if they can get the job done today. Harwich comes to the plate first as the road team. Kettleers up 1-0 in the series. Harwich goes up with a starting lineup against Sean Sullivan that sounds like this. Dylan Noisy bats first and plays center field. Nico Cavadas bats second and plays first base. Corey Acton bats third and plays second base. Joey Weimer, the left fielder, batting fourth. Pat Winkle, the DH, batting fifth. Hal Hughes, the shortstop, batting sixth. Mike Ludwig starts in right field and bats seventh. Riley Terada bats eighth and plays third base. And it's Sean Harrington, who's the new catcher, batting ninth. Connor McCullough is the starting pitcher for Harwich. Once again for Steve Englert's Mariners, it's Noisy in center, Cavadas at first, Acton at second, Weimer in left, Winkle the DH, Hughes at short, Ludwig in right, Terada at third, and Harrington behind the plate. Sean Sullivan gets the start for Cotuit in Game 2. The young 18-year-old right-hander from Cal Berkeley, 0-2 in the regular season with a 1.96 earned run average. He has not allowed an earned run in 21 innings. 6'1", 165 pounds, a sophomore from Woodland Hills, California. No better guy that you'd want with the ball on the mound for Cotuit in this championship game.
A strike thrower gets ahead of batters, and against a team like Harwich that has been struggling to hit the ball, that's exactly what you need. Get ahead of these batters, make them hit it. Don't give them free passes or any walks.
Dylan Noisy comes back to the plate for the first time in just about 15 hours or so when we wrapped up around 11 o'clock last night in Harwich. And Sean Sullivan starts him off with a fastball away for ball one. First pitch clocks in 1 minute early at 3:59 Eastern. Sully on the first base side of the rubber. Swinging a miss on a 1-0 fastball right down Broadway, 92 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the Cotuit defense. Sullivan on the mound. Cody Pasek catches again. He caught all 15 innings last night. Matt Mervis at first base. 1-1 breaking ball. Pulled the string on him. Noisy swings over the top of it, and it's now 1-2 to Sullivan on the mound. Nick Gonzalez at second base. Casey Schmitt at third base. And Adam Oviedo, the 2-year shortstop, making his 98th appearance as a Kettleer. 1-2 fastball, 93 miles an hour off the chalk. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Parker Chavers in left field. Dante Williams in center field. And Arajanu plays in right field. 2-2. Fastball on the outside corner. Ring him up, Sean Sullivan. 1 down here in the first.
All around the strike zone there, and Pasek didn't even wait for the call from Merzel behind home plate. Was already ready to throw it around the diamond. And Sullivan's a guy that's going to work inside, outside, dot up that low 90s fastball. And if he's locked in on all of his pitches today, it's going to be a long day for Harwich.
Too easy for Sullivan. Noisy goes down looking. Here's Nico Cavadas, who swings over the top of a changeup. That's strike number 1. Cavadas 0 for 17 in the postseason so far. He went 0 for 5 last night with a couple of walks and 2 strikeouts. 0-1 from Sully. Slider down and out. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cavadas, the big-time left-handed bat from Notre Dame. 9 home runs of the regular season. 1-1. Breaking ball away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kettleers in their maroon warm-up shirts. As Mike Roberts told you before the game, they've been riding them all the way throughout the playoffs. White pinstripe pants as well. 2-1 fastball. Roped into right field, and Cavadas finally has a hit in the playoffs. And who bobbles it out there? Cavadas thought about going to second base. Instead, he stands at first with a 1-out single.
You got to feel good for Cavadas. Didn't have a hit in the postseason, like you said, Sam. Was 3 for his last 37 going back to the regular season. A great hitter. Tied the league lead with 9 home runs. Just hit a rough patch, and that's got to feel good for Nico. One of the better hitters in this Cape League.
Cavadas aboard for Harwich in the top of the first. 0-0. Runner on with 1 out, and here's another left-handed bat, Corey Acton, second baseman out of Florida. Sullivan out of the stretch. First pitch breaking ball, bent over the plate for strike 1. Acton went 0 for 4 last night, batting in the 5th spot. He walked 3 times and scored 2 runs. Schmitt plays in by a step at third base. Mervis holds Cavadas on at first. 0-1. Fastball. Foul tip back into Pasek. Schmitt. No balls and 2 strikes.
Great spot for that fastball there. It has some tailing action away from the left-handed hitter. Not much Acton can do with that pitch.
Cavadas the 1-out single on first. No score in the top of 1. 2-strike pitch. Slider just down and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Acton. 4 hits and 18 postseason at-bats overall. Had a big solo home run in Game 2 of the East Division pennant against YD. Sullivan at the belt, 1-2. Looping curveball high and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Harwich in their road blue tops, trimmed in red, gray pants, and red batting helmets. They'll have blue caps once they get into the field. Cavadas inches off first base. Sullivan looks over his left shoulder. 2-2. Fastball sliced into left field. Hanging up in the air for Chavers, who has out number 2 in his glove. Sean Sullivan gets the second out here in this first inning. Acton flies out to left field. And Joey Weimer's next up, the cleanup batter from the University of Cincinnati. 0-0, top of the first. Cavadas with a 1-out single. He's on first base with 2 outs, and Joey Weimer comes to the plate from the right side. Weimer 5 of 23 in the playoffs with 7 strikeouts. First pitch from Sullivan, curveball in the dirt, sliding stop by Pasek to his left. 1 ball and no strikes on Weimer, who has that signature lengthy upright stance at 6'4". He twirls the bat overhead. Craig Counsell-esque or Kevin Youkilis-esque, with curly golden locks coming out of his red batting helmet. Sullivan's 1-0. Downhill fastball in the dirt at 91 miles an hour, 2 balls and no strikes. Weimer went 2 for 7 last night. He played the entire game, doubled in the second inning, and scored in that same frame. And then he got quiet, struck out twice, and grounded into a double play in the 9th inning, which sent the game into extras. Of course, that was when Richard Brereton came into the ballgame and tight-roped out of that thing, entering the top of the 9th out of the Cotuit bullpen with 2 on and nobody out. Kettleers won Game 1, scoreless in Game 2, first inning, runner on with 2 outs. 2-0 fastball, sliced up into the air on the first base side, right over by the dugout. Pasek makes the play for out number 3. Sean Sullivan gets through the first, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left for Harwich, and we are on to the bottom of 1. Cotuit comes to the plate next. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball and the Cape Cod Baseball Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. First inning, no score between Cotuit and Harwich. Kettleers at the plate with a starting lineup that sounds like this. Nick Gonzalez, the leadoff man, he plays second base. Matt Mervis bats second and plays first base. Siraj Anu bats third and plays in right field. Casey Schmitt, the third baseman, batting cleanup. Colton Kessler, the DH, batting fifth. And Parker Chavers, the left fielder, batting sixth. Adam Oviedo in the 7th spot at shortstop. Dante Williams bats eighth and plays center field. And Cody Pasek is the catcher. The Cotuit native bats ninth. Sean Sullivan worked around a 1-out single by Nico Cavadas in the top of the first inning. No score entering the bottom of 1. And it's Connor McCullough who gets the ball for Harwich in Game 2. The right-handed ace from Kansas State stands at 6 foot tall, 175 pounds. A sophomore from Monell, Arkansas. Went to the University of Arkansas for a year and then just transferred to Kansas State. He sat out this season, so he has been fresh all year long and dazzling, coming off a 6-inning no-hit performance in Game 1 of this postseason.
He and Sean Sullivan have something in common. They throw strikes, not overwhelming stuff on the mound, but they get ahead of batters and mix up 3 pitches, and that's been the recipe for success for both of them.
Nick Gonzalez greeted by an applause from the Kettleer home faithful on the third base side. Packed house at Lowell Park for this championship Game 2. Scoreless in the bottom of 1. McCullough winds up on the rubber and delivers. Hard fastball just low and in at 89 miles an hour for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on Gonzalez, who had the late game hit to put Cotuit on top in the 15th last night. He takes a fastball down and in again. 2 balls and no strikes. Gonzalez wrapped up the game, reaching 5 times in 8 plate appearances. 3 of 6 overall with a couple of RBIs, including the game winner and 2 walks. 2-0 fastball slung in and spit back foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. 92 miles an hour from McCullough. He works primarily with a fastball curveball split. Combined with Joe Boyle for a no-hitter in Game 1 of the playoffs against the top seed Chatham. There's that curveball. Just a little inside, though, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike on Gonzalez. Here's the Harwich defense. McCullough on the mound. Sean Harrington does the catching. Just his third appearance on the year. Nico Cavadas at first base. Corey Acton at second. 3-1 fastball. Grounded sharply to Terada at third. And he makes the play for out number 1. So it is Riley Terada, the third baseman for Harwich. And then Hal Hughes, the sure-handed shortstop up the middle. Gonzalez grounds out to lead off the bottom of the first inning. 1 down with nobody aboard. No score, and here's Matt Mervis. Rest of the Harwich outfield, Joey Weimer in left field. Dylan Noisy in center. Mike Ludwig in right field. McCullough's first pitch. Fastball spun outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Mervis, a left-handed batter out of Duke. 6 of 31 in the postseason. 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. 1-0 fastball. Just off the outside corner. 2 balls and no strikes. Merv went 1 for 8 yesterday with a run scored. His only hit came in the very first inning. A hard single against Connor Seckler. 2-0 fastball tipped off the end of the bat foul. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And that was a tough 1 for 8 for Merv because he hit the ball hard just about 3 or 4 times deep to the outfield. Slashed one the other way, turned on one to right field too. Unfortunately, both outfielders were able to get under it.
2-1 fastball outside. McCullough falls behind the count. 3 balls and 1 strike. Mervis had 2 home runs in the opening series against Wareham. He's quieted down a little bit. And now he launches one to deep right field. Well, you can give him his third. Cotuit up 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Matt Mervis right on cue. And the Kettleers take the lead here in Game 2 of the title series at Lowell Park.
Mervis knew that was gone right off the bat. He stayed in the batter's box for a good 2-second count. Watched that thing fly midway up the trees in right field. And he is locked back in at the plate. We said he had some good swings last game, and they're translating here.
Matt Mervis roars back to the third base dugout with his Kettleer teammates. And all the Cotuit villagers on the third base side came to their feet for the first time this afternoon. Mervis a solo drive, 1-0 good guys with 1 out in the bottom of the first. Next up, Arajanu, and he takes a curveball outside for ball 1. Anu, the switch hitter, he bats from the left side against the right-handed pitcher in McCullough. 0-1 dialed in, a fastball just way too high for Harrington. 2 balls and no strikes. Anu had a 3-run home run in the first inning of last night's ball game. He finished up 3 for 6. 9 hits in 24 playoff at-bats with that home run and 8 driven in. Fastball spiked low by McCullough, who's losing control. 3 balls and no strikes.
The amazing thing about Mervis is most of his home runs are just line drives. They get out of here within 5 seconds. He never gets cheated, and that's another 400-foot-plus bomb from Matt Mervis.
1-0 Cotuit with 1 out and the bases empty in the bottom of the first. 3-0 to Anu. Fastball right at the belt for a strike, 3-1. Blue sky overhead, sunny and 80 degrees for a championship Friday at Lowell Park. 3-1 breaking ball in the dirt. And Harrington had it go right behind him, but it looked like Anu might have checked at it or fouled it. Araj hasn't gone down to first base, and it's indeed ruled as a foul ball. So it's a 3-2 count. McCullough giving a little bit of a break on a pitch in the dirt. Here comes the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Nasty curveball down and in. 75 miles an hour from McCullough with a ton of bite. And Anu's down for out number 2.
A lot of depth on that breaking ball, and you had a feeling he was going to double up on it after the check swing from Anu 3-1. He went back to it again and was able to get him to chase.
1-0 Cotuit in the bottom of the first inning thanks to Matt Mervis' solo home run to right. Here's Casey Schmitt, the cleanup batting third baseman from the right side. 2 outs and the base is empty. First pitch curveball from McCullough outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Schmitt went 2 for 6 yesterday with a walk and the game-tying run scored in the 9th. It was Adam Oviedo who chopped one over Cavadas' head at third to push the Kettleers into extras. Ground ball on the chalk at third base, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Broken bat. Schmitt goes back to his dugout to get a new lumber. It is the strongest crowd we've seen at Lowell Park so far this summer. You had to be an early bird if you wanted to get a lawn chair in today, and there are plenty of them packed in like sardines on the third base side near the dugout and going up the left field line. First base grandstand is also filled. That's the first time we've seen that one, which is the one that faces the sun all the way to the capacity. McCullough's 1-1. Fastball zipped on a line, deep to left field. Casey Schmitt, goodbye. 2-0 Cotuit on a pair of solo home runs here in the first inning. Casey Schmitt knocks out his second of the postseason, and the Kettleers have liftoff here in Game 2.
This team led the entire Cape League in home runs, but I guarantee they would have led an average distance. They don't get cheated. Seems like just about every tank here is over 400 feet. I can promise you the Mervis home run was over 400 feet, and there's no doubt that Casey Schmitt tank was over 400 as well.
Cotuit making a statement early in Game 2. Schmitty the home run. It was Mervis who began. And another bomb, this time to left field. A pull shot to make it 2-0 Kettleers with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Here's Colton Kessler. Left-handed batter takes a curveball in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Kessler 6 for his last 13. He went 2 for 4 last night. He has been amazing in the postseason. 8 hits in 20 at-bats. He only had 9 hits in 65 regular season at-bats. 1-0. Fastball a touch outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
And we knew what Kessler was capable of, 291 hitter in the SEC at Kentucky, and he's really shortened up that swing. He's been hitting it to all parts of the field, and he's looked like the hitter we expected when the season started.
McCullough's 2-0, a curveball down at the plate, 3 balls and no strikes for Kessler. He has adjusted like so many others in this lineup. The Kettleers boasting the top offense in the Cape League. 60 runs scored across 6 playoff games. 2-0 Cotuit with 2 outs to the bases empty in the bottom of 1. McCullough behind again, and he misses way up with a fastball. Ball 4 to Kessler, a 2-out walk to keep this first inning going.
And McCullough doesn't have it as well as he did in his last outing with the 6 no-hit innings. He's falling behind these hitters early in the Kettleer lineup, and they can make you pay for that, especially when they're sitting on the fastball. He located the breaking ball to Anu a couple times, but that's it. He's been struggling to find his secondary pitches since then.
Nick Gonzalez grounded out to third to begin this inning. Then Matt Mervis launched one into right field for a solo home run to make it 1-0. Anu struck out on a curveball for out number 2. Then Schmitt struck for a solo home run to make it 2-zip. Kessler just walked on 4 pitches. He's on first with 2 outs. And it's Parker Chavers who steps up to the plate. Left-handed batting left fielder from Coastal Carolina. 1 of 6 last night with a walk. McCullough ahead 0-1. Hard fastball just outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Chavers on a mini 5-game hitting streak throughout the postseason. 8 hits and 28 at-bats with a couple of bombs and 5 runs batted in. McCullough from the belt. 1-1 curveball dropped in on the outside corner for a strike. 1-2.
The offensive numbers for this Kettleer team have been staggering. With those 2 home runs in this inning, they have 11 in the postseason. That's more than the Harwich Mariners have entire extra base hits. They have 10 in the entire postseason.
Great stat. 1-2. Got him to miss on a curveball inside. Swing and a miss by Chavers for out number 3. But the Kettleers get on the board early. It's home runs from Mervis and Schmitt to get Cotuit in front. 2-0. We're going on to the second. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is the 2019 Cape League Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Kettleers up 2-0 in the second inning. Harwich back at the plate here. 5, 6, and 7 due up against the right-hander Sean Sullivan. Pat Winkle, Hal Hughes, and then Mike Ludwig. Sullivan spotted the 2-run lead. Home runs from Mervis and Schmitt to put Cotuit in the driver's seat early. Pat Winkle comes to the plate from the left side, and Sully deals him a curveball in the dirt for ball 1. Winkle, a hero for Harwich last night. Finished the night 3 for 7 with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Wind up in the 1-0. Fastball low and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Winkle had the go-ahead home run for Harwich in the bottom of the 8th inning. A moonshot to dead center, his second of the night. The Kettleers were trailing 6-4 after that slam. 2-0 fastball spoiled the other way. Foul out of play. 2 balls and a strike on Winkle. And the Kettleers picked themselves off the deck again. A 2-run rally in the 9th against Joe Boyle descended into extras. Fast forward to the 15th, and Cotuit won it 7-6 on the Gonzalez single. Breaking ball, and on the ground to the right side and through for a base hit. Winkle keeps his little hot streak in his championship alive. His 4th hit of the series, and he's aboard to lead off the 2nd for Harwich.
This guy is locked in at the plate. It's just coming in like a beach ball for him. The performance, as you mentioned yesterday, Sam, amazing. And starts off today with a single against a great pitcher in Sean Sullivan.
Winkle on first after a pull hit to the right side. 2nd hit of the afternoon for Harwich. 2-0 Kettleers with a runner on first and nobody out in the top of 2. Hal Hughes all the way up to the 6th spot in the lineup. And he takes a fastball upstairs for ball 1. Hughes, the right-handed batting shortstop from LSU. 1 for 7 last night with a run scored. 6 hits and 18 at-bats so far in the playoffs with a home run and 3 driven in. Mervis holds on to the runner and Winkle at first, middle infield at double play depth. 1-0 slider on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1. 4-man umpiring crew on a Friday afternoon in Cotuit. Jeff Merzell, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes behind home plate. Don DiGirolamo, the first base umpire. Rudy Firmbach at second base, and Mike Finn at third base. 1-1 curveball looped into high left field. Chavers tracks it towards his left and calls off Williams for out number 1. Sean Sullivan bounces back after giving up the leadoff single. Hughes retired in the air for out number 1 here in the 2nd. 2-0 Cotuit in the top of the 2nd inning. Solo home runs from Matt Mervis and Casey Schmitt in the first, the strength of the Kettleer edge. 10th and 11th home runs for Cotuit in this playoff run. Winkle on first with 1 out. Here's Mike Ludwig, the left-handed batting right fielder from Wake. He looks at a fastball down and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Ludwig limited postseason action. Came in as a substitute in the middle part of last night's game and went 1 for 4 with a double. Only had 1 at-bat previous before that championship game 1. 1-0 from the stretch, swing and a miss on a low curveball. Sullivan evens up the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Schmitt plays in by a step at third base. His toes right on the edge of the green grass. Standard defensive alignment for Cotuit this season against left-handed batters. 1-1. Tailing changeup outside. 2 balls and 1 strike now. Ludwig looking over to the third base coach and Mark Tebow, who cycles through the signs across his chin and on his forearms. Sullivan's ready at the belt. Winkle off first, held on by Mervis. 2-1, runner moving, pitch out. Pasek loops it down to second. Oviedo the tag, not even close for out number 2.
I don't think that was a steal there. That looked like a missed sign. It looked like the runner on first base in Winkle was expecting a hit and run. High fastball. Ludwig did not pull the trigger, and he was dead to rights at second base.
Cody Pasek throws out his 3rd runner behind the plate in this championship series. He had 2 last night, both against Dylan Noisy. This time he picks off Winkle to erase the base pass for a second here in the top of the 2nd inning. But Sullivan just dealed in ball 4 to Mike Ludwig, who goes down to first base with a 2-out walk.
And those 2 throwouts by Pasek in yesterday's game all had something in common. They took the wind out of the sails of Harwich in each inning, where it looked like they were in business. And the same thing here again. They could have had 2 aboard. Now they only have 1 aboard with 2 outs.
So now it's Ludwig who moves over to first base. 2 down here in the top of 2. 2-0 Cotuit. Riley Terada at the plate from the right side. First pitch breaking ball from Sullivan. Spotted on the inside part of the plate for strike 1. Terada came into last night's game in the 9th inning. Chris Galland was injured, and he subbed in for him after he tried to sacrifice and got hit in the face with a pitch. Our thoughts are with him. Hopefully he's doing okay. 0-1. Swing and a miss on a fastball upstairs. No balls and 2 strikes. So Terada gets the call at third base to begin this game 2. 0 for 1 last night with a walk. 1 for 4 in the postseason overall with a couple of ribbies. Ludwig shuffles off first. Mervis holds him on. 0-2. Fastball dives outside at 91 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cody Pasek turns back to Jeff Merzell and says, where was that one at? Get some clarification from this afternoon's crew chief behind the plate. 2-0 Kettleers in the top of 2. Throw over to first to look at the runner in Ludwig.
We've seen the strike zone tighten up here in the postseason. Rick Emerson had just about a major league strike zone yesterday with how tight it was, but he was consistent with it, and it looks like Jeff Merzell is following suit.
Sullivan holds at the belt. Ludwig ready to win at first. 1-2 fastball. Taken in the air on the right side, out of play. We'll do a 1-2 to Terada again. Terada from Dayton University, a native of South Bend, Indiana. Sullivan just 18 years old on the mound. Cotuit's Dynamo ace, making his 10th and final start on the entire summer. Quick pick over to first, and Ludwig had to scurry back in. He was inching over towards second, and Sullivan didn't even toe the rubber before he tossed it over to Mervis. Still a man on for Harwich with 2 outs here in the top of 2. Kettleers 2, Harwich 0. Sully looks in, 1-2. Breaking ball, chopped over to short. Charging play by Oviedo. Shuffle and throw to Mervis. Got him by a step, and that's out number 3. Harwich comes up empty again in the second. No runs on 1 hit. No errors, and 1 man left on base. And we are on to the bottom of 2. Kettleers back at the plate. When we return, this is the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Kettleers back at the plate. Bottom of the second inning in Cotuit, and the Kettleers lead 2-0 over Harwich. 7, 8, 9 due up for Cotuit against the right-hander Connor McCullough, Adam Oviedo, Dante Williams, and then Cody Pasek. Glad you're along with us on a Friday afternoon. Sam Niederman and Arm Layton right behind home plate in the Arnold Mycock building. Adam Oviedo takes a high and tight fastball for ball 1. 2-zip Cotuit on Mervis and Schmitt's home runs back in the first inning. Big-time shots to right and left field, respectively. Here comes the 1-0. Fastball lifted out into short right center field. Actually going down the right field foul line, and Acton tumbles in and makes the play for out number 1.
Acton had to cover a lot of ground there. Out in foul territory by right field. It was a long way for the right fielder Ludwig to go, and Acton was the only one who had a beat on it. Good job to make the grab, even if it looked a little more difficult than it needed to be.
1 down for Cotuit at the plate in the bottom of 2. Kettleers lead 2-0. 1 out and the base is empty. Dante Williams comes to the plate. Left-handed batting center fielder from the University of Arizona. McCullough starts him off with a fastball high and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Terada in on the edge of the grass at third, playing against a bunt from the speedy Williams. 4 hits and 21 playoff at-bats with 3 runs batted in. Fastball runs low at the ankles. 2 balls and no strikes. Everybody else back on the Harwich infield. Outfield plays back and straight up. McCullough the windup, 2-0. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on Williams, who went 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk. 5'10", 175 pounds from Las Vegas. McCullough's 2-1. Hard fastball upstairs, chopped into the air, left field. Weimer comes in, and he's got it for out number 2. McCullough gets the first 2 batters of this second inning. Oviedo a pop out to second in foul territory. Now Williams flies to left. And here comes Cody Pasek, the number 9 man. 2-0 Cotuit with 2 outs in the bottom of 2. Nobody aboard for Pasek. Hometown Kettleer hero who swings and misses at the first pitch. A fastball outside for strike 1. It's not a dream for him. It is a reality, and he is playing for his team in the championship series with a chance to win it in front of his home fans. Swing and a miss over the top of a curveball down and away. 0-2. Pasek caught all 15 innings last night. He went 1 for 7 at the plate, began 0 for 6, but his last hit the most important. 0-2 breaking ball, just nicked back foul, and we'll do an 0-2 again. Pasek served a single up the middle against Will Heflin. That was with 2 outs in the top of the 15th, and that kept the train moving to flip it to the top of the order for Nick Gonzalez, who delivered the go-ahead hit. 0-2, swing and a miss. Beautiful curveball from McCullough, and he gets a strikeout to retire the side here in the second. Kettleers go down in order. McCullough checks in with his third strikeout, and now we're on to the third. Kettleers lead 2-0 in Game 2 of the Cape League Championship Series. Be right back with Arm Layton on the play-by-play when we return on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Kettleers lead early thanks to a pair of solo shots in the first. It's 2-0 as we start the third inning here. 9-hitter Sean Harrington, then back to the top of the order with Dylan Noisy and Nico Cavadas. Harrington getting his first look at Sullivan. Bats from the left side and takes a fastball away, 1-0. Harrington, the catcher from Babson College, Division III, in the NESCAC Conference, just outside of Boston. 1-0. Lifted out into left field, ranging over is Chavers. Camped under it, makes the grab for out number 1. Harrington retired. Back around to the top of the order with Dylan Noisy. Gets his second look now at Sean Sullivan. Noisy struck out looking in his first at-bat. Led the way for the Mariners last night. Finished 3 for 6 with a pair of walks. First pitch breaking ball, called strike on the outer half, 0-1. Noisy's led the way the entire postseason for his team. Fastball, called strike again. 0-2 here to Noisy. He's 8 for 19 in the postseason, a .421 clip. That comes after hitting 197 in the regular season. Sullivan works quickly, the 0-2. Breaking ball crowds him inside. 1-2. Sullivan gets the ball. Basically standing with his heels on the rubber, ready to deal the next pitch. Here he comes, the 1-2, fouled away. We'll do 1-2 again. Nico Cavadas waits on deck. He picked up his first base hit of the postseason. Back in the first inning, it was a single out to right field. 1-2 on the leadoff hitter, Noisy. The pitch. Breaking ball, blocked by Pasek in the dirt, now 2-2. Sullivan has not surrendered a run now in over 23 innings, an earned run. Surrendered 1 run that was unearned in the first playoff appearance against Wareham as that's popped up to the infield, foul territory. Calling for it is Mervis by the first base dugout, makes the grab. 2 quick outs here for Sean Sullivan in the top of the third inning, and now he gets Nico Cavadas, the power-hitting first baseman from Notre Dame.
Good work by Sean Sullivan to settle in here. You get all the jitters of a championship game start. Looked like he might have been a little off-center when he first started the game, despite just giving up a couple of base runners, and now he's really getting into his rhythm.
Backdoor breaking ball doesn't quite come back, so it's 1-0. Cavadas snapped an 0 for 17 streak to start the postseason. So he takes another breaking ball outside, 2-0. He was 3 for his last 37 with 20 strikeouts, but picked up the single back in the first. Calls for time as Sullivan was rushing him. And it's granted by the home plate umpire, Jeff Merzel. Sullivan out of the windup, kicks and deals a 2-0. Swing and a miss through a changeup, now 2-1. Schmitt shifted over towards shortstop at third. Drops back now after the swinging strike. The 2-1, fouled away, now 2-2 into the parking lot and off the roof of a car. Sullivan on the mound from Cal Berkeley. Cavadas at the plate from Notre Dame. The 2-2 misses in the dirt. You can tell by Cavadas' cleats he's worn all season long. They clash with the red, white, and blue jerseys the Mariners wear on the road. Green and gold cleats representing the Fighting Irish. The payoff pitch, swing and a miss through a breaking ball, sets down Cavadas for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning here in the third for Sean Sullivan. He'll give his team an opportunity to hit here with a 2-0 lead going into the bottom of the third. To the top of the order for the Kettleers, it's Nick Gonzalez, Matt Mervis, and Araj Anu. 1, 2, 3. They get their second look at McCullough. After surrendering a pair of solo shots in the first, he settled in, worked a 1-2-3 inning against the bottom third of the Kettleer order. But now Nick Gonzalez gets a second crack at him. He grounded out to third to lead off the ball game. Finished yesterday 3 for 6 with a pair of walks. Swings at the first pitch, lines it, hooking just foul down the third base line. So 0-1 here to the Cape League MVP. Came up big once again in yesterday's ball game, the go-ahead RBI single. And Kyle Nicholas came in to shut the door in the 15th. The 0-1, breaking ball, swing and a miss. And that's McCullough's go-to off the fastball. He works the fastball, 12-6 curveball, and the changeup. But his favorite secondary is that 12-6 curve. The 0-2. There's the curve again in the other batter's box, blocked by Harrington. Harrington getting the start today after the 15-inning game yesterday where Winkle caught all 15 innings, much like Cody Pasek of the Kettleers. Winkle DHs today. Pasek starts again behind the dish. The 1-2. Swing and a miss through a changeup for strike 3. So Gonzalez set down for the second time in this ball game, and he gives way to Matt Mervis. Harrington behind the dish only committed one error at Babson College. Gets his first start of the postseason here. Mervis slugged a line drive home run midway up the trees into right field to give the Kettleers the first run of the ball game. That was back in the first. Breaking ball taken inside, 1-0. That was Mervis' third home run of the postseason. Took a 1 for 8 yesterday, but came out hot today. A 1-0. Breaking ball misses up and out, 2-0. It's been the first time this season that we've seen Coach Roberts stick with a lineup for more than 2 games in a row. But how could you break up this lineup that's been demolishing playoff teams? Fastball taken inside for a strike. 50 runs scored by this Kettleer ball club in the postseason. The 2-1. Fastball misses inside, now 3-1 to the big left-handed hitting corner infielder from Duke, set to be a senior. Has enjoyed a great summer in the Cape after a solid spring as a junior, poised for a breakout senior season. Ahead 3-1. The pitch from McCullough. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. And McCullough's shown that he's not afraid to go to that breaking ball, Sam, even in hitters' counts.
I tell you what, he's got such great arm action with his fastball and curveball that it just whips in. You don't know what you're going to get until last second.
Payoff, he goes to the curveball again and sets down Mervis swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts here, and now it's Araj Anu.
And you got to give McCullough a lot of credit. He gave up the 2 home runs and a walk in the first inning, but since then he has struck out 3 in a row in this little sequence, 4 overall, and he has retired 6 in a row.
Now it's Anu. He struck out swinging back in the first. Changeup misses down, 1-0. The switch hitter bats from the left side here. Anu had a big 3-run shot in the first inning of last night's ball game. Strike at the knees. It was a fastball, now 1-1. He finished 3 for 6 with the 3 runs driven in and a walk. Anu has caught fire at the top of this order as well. Breaking ball swung through it, now 1-2. And McCullough's throwing that pitch as much as his fastball right now, and it's been working. He was touched up for 2 solo shots from Mervis and Schmitt in the first. He's retired 6 straight since. Breaking ball misses high, 2-2. Infield plays Anu straight up. The 2-2 pitch from McCullough. Breaking ball blocked by Harrington, makes things full. Back-to-back full counts here. McCullough won the battle against Mervis. Now poised for the 3-2 pitch here against Anu. Out of the windup, kicks and deals the payoff. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. McCullough takes advantage of 2 full counts and strikes out the side here in the third. We'll go into the 4th inning. Kettleers still up 2-0. Sullivan out for the fourth inning. He's got a 2-0 lead, but he's got the middle of the order for the Mariners. 3, 4, 5. Corey Acton, Joey Weimer, and Pat Winkle. Acton flew out to opposite field, left field, in his first at-bat. That was the second out of the first inning. Gets his second look now at Sean Sullivan. Acton bats from the left side, the first pitch. Called strike right down the middle. 0-1 here to Acton. Plays second base today. He's played the hot corner for the Mariners at times this summer and manned the hot corner for the Gators in the spring. He lines one out to Gonzalez, picks it on a long hop. Actually, he grabbed it in the air. A nice snag there by Gonzo, who threw it onto first base for good measure. But it's called on the fly, so a line out to Nick Gonzalez for the first out in the fourth.
Good read by Gonzalez. He played that right. Didn't go too far back on it, and it didn't come too far in. The call by Rudy Fernbach at second base right on top of it always helps when you got the second umpire out there to make it a four-man crew.
First pitch to Joey Weimer. He starts his swing but holds up. Called strike anyways on a breaking ball. 0-1 to Weimer. Weimer had a few opportunities to give his team a walk-off victory. Could not come through. Breaking ball misses high, 1-1. But who didn't in that ball game yesterday? 15 innings. Several opportunities against Richard Brereton to try and plate the winning run. But he danced out of every jam. Ground ball back up the box into center field for a base hit. Weimer aboard here. Just the second hit of the ball game for the Mariners. Make that the third, excuse me, as Weimer's aboard here for the fourth. And here comes Pat Winkle. And this guy did all the damage for the Mariners yesterday. Winkle finished 3 for 7, a pair of home runs, a double, and 5 driven in. Winkle singled back in the second inning. That led off the second, but was cut down either trying to steal or on a missed hit and run sign by Cody Pasek. First pitch to Winkle. That's lifted out into right field. Going back is Anu. That'll stay in the yard. He makes a grab for out number 2. You got to hold your breath every time Winkle puts the bat on the ball here. You think it has a chance after last night.
Yeah, last night was his night. The one big bright spot for Harwich, despite them coming up short on the game overall. He's just got a sweeping swing to the pull side as a left-handed batter. Such a young kid, and he's got to be feeling really good about himself no matter how this series ends up heading into the fall at UConn.
He's picked up momentum after a tough regular season, hit just 167, but has enjoyed a strong postseason with some momentum, like Sam said, going in to the fall and spring at UConn. Pick off over to first, and Weimer dives back. Weimer likes to jump up and down, dance back and forth on the base paths. We saw that a lot at second base last night. He gets really low into that stance, his hands touching the dirt as he leads off of first. Hal Hughes at the plate, shortstop from LSU, takes a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Hughes 1 for 7 in the ball game last night. 6 hits in the postseason, has been one of the leaders in the playoffs for the Mariners. He and Dylan Noisy have accounted for nearly half of the Mariners' hits. Another pickoff over to first. Weimer dives back. Hughes 333, 6 for 18, with a home run and 3 driven in 5 postseason games. The 0-1. Line drive into left field, a base hit. Weimer coasts into second, but he'll stay put there. 2 aboard with 2 outs, and he'll lead, Mike Ludwig, he'll come to the plate. Ludwig from Wake Forest gets a start in right field today. Chris Lanzilli not in the lineup after an 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 21 on the postseason. It's been a roller coaster of a season for Lanzilli, his Wake Forest teammate. First pitch. Fastball misses up and out. 93 on the gun there from Sullivan. That's about as high as you'll see him run it up on the mound. Weimer on second. He singled. Hal Hughes on first base followed suit. 2 aboard, 2 outs. 1-0 count here to Mike Ludwig. Fastball just misses off the plate. Now 2-0 here. Ludwig finished 1 for 4 with a double in yesterday's ball game. He was the DH last night. Sullivan trying to find a strike here, behind 2-0. Weimer jumps back and forth off of second. The pitch. Fastball misses away, now 3-0.
That guy, Joey Weimer, is a madman out there at second. Said it last night, and I'll say it again this afternoon. Dude is a dancer when he gets off the plate.
He was dancing in the 15th inning at 11 o'clock at night. Just energy out there at second base. Finally poured in a strike there, did Sullivan, now 3-1. Weimer, the outfielder from Cincinnati, had a great spring over there. An all-star for the Mariners this summer.
Looks like he's a boxer getting ready to train for a match or something, moving his feet.
The 3-1. Hard hit ground ball to Oviedo. Scoops it up, goes a short way to second to Gonzalez for out number 3. Ludwig retired, 2 stranded. 2 hits, no runs, no errors, 2 left on board. And Sullivan pitches yet another scoreless inning. We'll go into the bottom of the 4th. Kettleers up 2-0 in Game 2 of this Cape League final. Cleanup hitter Casey Schmitt leads it off here in the 4th. Then Colton Kessler, Parker Chavers. First pitch. Fastball misses low, 1-0. McCullough has settled in after he surrendered 2 home runs in the first, one of them at the hands of Casey Schmitt. He struck out the side swinging. Back in the 3rd inning. Fastball just misses away. Now 2-0 on the third baseman from San Diego State. Schmitt available here to close this one out. You'd expect if the Kettleers have a lead, he'll be the one picking up the final out. As that's lifted out into left field, deep towards the wall, and it's out of here. Casey Schmitt strikes again. 2 home runs and 2 at-bats, and he gives the Kettleers a 3-run lead. Schmitt continues to do it at the plate in the postseason. And as we said, he's going to be the guy on the mound once Sullivan's day is done. But how about Casey Schmitt, Sam?
Dude is putting the team on his back when it matters the most. It's only his 7th and 8th hits of the postseason. That's a little quiet for his standards, but 2 huge home runs in this game, and he has beaten McCullough badly in both trips to the plate.
First pitch to Colton Kessler. There's that 12-6 bender. Out of the zone, misses down and in, 1-0. 3 runs on 3 hits for the Kettleers. All 3 solo shots. The 1-0. Hard hit ground ball out to Hughes at shortstop. Eats him up and trickles into shallow center field. That'll be an E6 by the sure-handed Hughes, but a hard hit ball by Kessler.
It hit off the mound, and that's what made it a tougher play for Hughes, who's got a gold caliber glove out there at shortstop. Just got him right in the chest, and a good hard hit ball again by Colton Kessler to reach for the 2nd time in as many tries.
Kessler won't get credit for the hit there, but continues to hit the ball hard and either on the ground or on a line. Good things happen when you put it in play, and Kessler has been doing that. He leads off of first now. Parker Chavers at the plate. Nobody out. Chops one into right field, a base hit. Kessler around second. He's going to go into third. The throw comes in, not in time. Kessler slides in, and it gets away from the third baseman, Terada. Chavers will go into second base. And just like that, the Kettleers have 2 in scoring position and nobody out.
Beautiful piece of hitting by Chavers there, just able to yank it onto the pull side and find a pull on that right side of the infield with Cavadas holding on. He has found his groove at a crucial point in this season. 6 games with a hit now in this little playoff run. A big-time job to get up into second base behind Kessler.
And score that a single for Chavers with an error on the right fielder, Ludwig. And now the infield is drawn in. Harwich already trailing by 3, and it's Adam Oviedo, one of the heroes from last night's win. First pitch bender, misses low, 1-0. Oviedo picked up the game-tying single off of Joe Boyle, Mr. Triple Digits on the mound. He blew the save, had a 2-run lead going into the top of the 9th. The 1-0. Fastball in the dirt, blocked by the catcher Harrington. to keep Kessler at third. Not as big of a backstop here as White House Field, but plenty of room if it gets past the catcher Harrington. Oviedo finished 4 for 7 with an RBI. The RBI was the game-tying run to make it 5-5. 2-0. Crowds him up and in, now 3-0. On deck is Dante Williams, the center fielder, an 8-hitter. Hal Hughes drops back a little bit at shortstop, playing about even with the baseline. Rest of the infield drawn in. Kessler at third. Chavers at second. Nobody out, the 3-0. Breaking ball misses, ball 4. So first base was open, and it looked like McCullough did not want to come into Oviedo once he fell behind. And now they're loaded up for the left-handed hitting outfielder from Arizona. But here comes Steve Englert to go talk to his starter, McCullough.
The Kettleers have a chance to bust this thing open. Top of the order looks behind Williams and Pasek, who have a shot at it guaranteed here with nobody out and the bases loaded. But a great job by those to start off this inning. Schmitt with the big-time home run, and then Kessler, Chavers, and Oviedo finding a way on base. It looked like McCullough was starting to get his footing in this game, but he's starting to fall off again here in the fourth inning, and the Kettleers can make him pay for it big time.
And Englert will stick with McCullough, mostly because he cannot afford to go to the bullpen after 15 innings last night. The Kettleers were aided by 6 innings out of the pen by Richard Brereton. The Mariners used 2 of their best back-end arms in Boyle and Heflin. First pitch is a called strike on the outer half to Williams. Nothing in 1 here. Bases loaded. Corner of the infield remains in. Middle of the infield playing for 2. They'll trade a run for 2 outs. 3-0. Kettleers here. Nobody out. The 0-1. Changeup misses away. Now 1-1. Cody Pasek waits on deck. Oviedo on first, he walked. Chavers on second, singled. Kessler on third, reached on an error. Line drive, back up the middle, and into center field, a base hit. Kessler will score. Chavers is held up at third as a strong throw comes in on a fly. But there's the 4th run on an RBI single by Dante Williams, and the Kettleers are starting to run away with this one.
Hard hit ball by Dante right up the middle. McCullough tried to reach out with his bare hand, a dangerous move, and try and make a play on it. It buzzed right past him into center field, and Mike Roberts held up another run at third base just to keep it going here with nobody out. A smart play with Nick Gonzalez on deck, and let's see what Cody Pasek can do in front of his hometown fans.
McCullough got Pasek swinging on that nasty 12-6 curveball the first time he faced him back in the second. There's the curveball to Pasek again. Called strike, nothing in 1. Pasek just 1 for 7 yesterday, but his single moved Oviedo from first to third to set the stage for Nick Gonzalez, who gave the Kettleers the go-ahead run in the 15th. Fastball, called strike at the knees. Pasek doesn't like it. A nice frame there by the catcher Harrington to sell it to Jeff Merzel, the home plate umpire. Nothing in 2. Bases still full of Kettleers and no outs. The 0-2, swing and a miss. There's that curveball again, and Pasek set down swinging for the second time in this ball game. First out in the 4th, but here comes the MVP, Nick Gonzalez.
Love this matchup right here. You get the MVP against an all-star pitcher in McCullough, and you know that Gonzo can drive one into the gap almost automatically. That could clear the bases and make it 7-0.
First pitch to Gonzo. There's the curveball one more time, swing and a miss. He struck out Gonzalez in the 3rd and got Gonzalez to ground out to start the ball game off. But one thing that Nick Gonzalez does is adjust on the fly. Rarely will you see a starting pitcher get him the 3rd time around. The 0-1. Ground ball out to shortstop, could be 2. The flip to Acton for 1. The turn is in time. McCullough escapes and leaves the bases loaded. We'll go into the top of the 5th inning now. Kettleers get 1 more, but can't take advantage of a good opportunity. 4-0 though. 5th inning, Sam Niederman takes over.
Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, presented to you by Curry College. Visit online at curry.edu and by Cape Cod Healthcare. expert physicians, quality hospitals, and superior care. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Game 2 of this Cape League final. Kettleers lead the series 1-0, and Cotuit also leads on the scoreboard 4-0, top of the 5th. Harwich at the plate here. Bottom of the order due up, 8-9-1. Terada, Harrington, and then back to the top with Noisy. Sean Sullivan on for his 5th inning of work. He has worked 4 shutout frames so far, only allowing 4 hits. Wind up in the 1-0. Fastball punched out of play, foul on the right side, 1-1. Terada 0 for 1 at the plate. Grounded out to shortstop in the 2nd inning. 4-zip Cotuit. The Kettleers added 2 more in the bottom of the 4th. Casey Schmitt with his 2nd solo home run of the day. And then Dante Williams an RBI single. 1-1. Slider right at the knees for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Terada, who did not like the call. Packed house at Lowell Park. Lawn chairs in the outfield circling around the fence. First time this summer that we've seen everybody across the full length of the outfield. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. All the lawn chairs were packed in early beyond the little press box overhang and scout area. First and third base sides, huge crowd. Terada shocks one into left center field. It's going deep, and it's off the wall. Riley Terada hits it gone, actually. It goes all the way over the wall. Harwich on the board here in the 5th. Riley Terada, a solo shot to lead off the inning and make it a 4-1 game.
That one snuck right over the wall by about 2 feet. And it was hard to see with those Americana banners scattered across the outfield. Just snuck out, but it was a line shot out to left center, all over that breaking ball from Sullivan, and he's finally touched up for an earned run after over 20 innings.
Well, that snaps Sullivan's 25-inning streak without allowing an earned run. Now he's up against the number 9 batter, Sean Harrington. 0 of 1 today. He flew out to left field in the 3rd. 4-1 Kettleers with nobody on, nobody out in the 5th. 1-0 breaking pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Harrington, a left-handed bat. A late addition and a D3 player from Babson College. 1-1. Fastball a touch outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. A local kid, Babson College, just outside of Boston. He's getting a shot on the biggest stage in America's premier summer wood bat league. 2-1 fastball grounded straight out to second. Gonzalez, Mervis for out number 1 here in the 5th. Back to the top of the Harwich lineup. Here comes Dylan Noisy, right-handed batting center fielder, who's 0 for 2 today. He struck out looking to begin the game in the 1st, and then popped out to first base in the 3rd inning. Mervis in by a step at first. First pitch breaking ball from Sullivan. Looped back foul. No balls and 1 strike. Long line at the Kettleer kitchen. It's going to be a huge 50-50 raffle pot. Did you already get some tickets right there?
Oh, I'm all over it.
Oh,
this is my last chance.
Foul ball checked back by Noisy. A hard fastball up and in.
It's my last chance. I haven't won yet. I think I've tried just about over a dozen times. But it's going to be a big pot today.
I got to get in there. I might go down there after this inning. We'll see. It will be a huge 50-50 pot. 0-2 breaking ball. Dipped on the outside corner for strike 3 called. Dylan Noisy frozen up again. Sean Sullivan goes back to the curveball, and he picks up his 3rd strikeout of this start.
It's a great job by Sullivan to settle back in after giving up the home run. Just 1 bad pitch. You're still leading by 3. Keep throwing strikes. Don't stray from what you've been doing.
Here's Nico Cavadas, who looks at a breaking ball down and away. Ball 1. Cavadas 1 for 2. Singled in the 1st and struck out in the 3rd. Sullivan's 1-0. Waving a miss on a good slider outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. 4-1 Cotuit. 2 outs and nobody aboard in the 5th. Harwich got their first run to lead off this inning. Riley Terada, a solo home run to deep left center. 1-1. Slider on the inside part of the plate, but it's a ball. Cavadas gets ahead in the count. 2 balls and a strike. Sullivan shakes off Pasek, now delivers. 2-1 fastball, flown out to deep left field. Shavers tracks back, looks up, and it's gone. Harwich with a mini rally here in the 5th. A leadoff home run by Terada. Now a 2-run home run by Cavadas, and it's 4-2.
And Cavadas has so much pop at the plate. That was a pitch he missed under and hit the other way and just inside outed it to left field. And that's scary. If this guy starts to get going for Harwich, that's not good news for the Kettleers.
Nico Cavadas comes over, greeted by his teammates, including Cliff Galland, who was injured last night, so that's good to see. He just jumped up and gave him a big bear hug. Cavadas finally checks in. That's his first hit of the entire postseason, and it's a solo home run, his 10th on the entire summer. An opposite field drive to make it a 4-2 ball game. Corey Acton at the plate, down in the count, no balls and 1 strike. Sullivan a curveball, yanked out to second, ranging play by Gonzalez. Good throw over to Mervis for out number 3. So Harwich gets on the board here. A couple of solo home runs in the top of the 5th, and that makes it a 4-2 ball game. Cotuit still got the lead, and we move on to the bottom of the 5th inning. Be right back in just a moment. This is the 2019 Cape League Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's Game 2 of the Cape League Championship. Kettleers lead Harwich 4-2. Bottom of the 5th inning, and a new pitcher on for Harwich. That is it for Connor McCullough. He goes 4 innings and allows 4 runs on 5 hits. Ends up striking out a grand total of 7, and he walked just a couple. Now it's another right-hander from the same school. Carson Seymour from Kansas State comes on. 6'4", 240 pounds, a junior. He was brilliant for Harwich in Game 1 against YD. Keyed them with 4 huge innings of relief. Didn't allow a run on 6 hits. Walked 2 and struck out 2 against 21 batters. That was 4 days ago. Now he comes in this elimination game, making his 2nd postseason appearance. Finished the regular season 0-3 with a 5.06 earned run average in 7 games. 6 of them starts. He's primarily a starter arm, and Steve Englert, we talked about at the Open, he emptied out his top back-end arm, so he's got to go all hands on deck and go with Seymour for some long relief in the middle here.
It's a good way to describe it. It really is all hands on deck, especially with their backs against the wall. It's just whatever the best arms are available, even if it's a starter, whoever it is that can eat up some innings here.
Seymour comes in, and here's Matt Mervis to lead things off. The left-handed batter takes a 94-mile-an-hour fastball outside for ball 1. Mervis 1 for 2, a solo home run to start the scoring for Cotuit in the first, a strikeout in the 3rd. 1-0 from Seymour, hit right up the box and into right center field for a hit. Matt Mervis checks in with the 6th hit for the Kettleers in this game. A leadoff single that bounced off the pitcher's mound on the second base side and rolled into the grass for a leadoff base hit.
It's tough to get Mervis on a fastball. He's got such a short swing for a big guy that he can turn around on an inside fastball, but he also gets those hands out on the outer half, and that's exactly what that pitch was there, and he lined it right back up the middle.
Next up, Araj Anu. Switch hitter bats from the left side and takes a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right down the pipe for strike 1. Anu 0 for 2. He struck out twice, swinging on curveballs from Connor McCullough. Mervis leads at first, held on by Cavadas. Seymour out of the stretch. 0-1 fastball low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Harwich answered with 2 runs in the top of this 5th inning. Terada and Cavadas with solo home runs. Right now it's the 2 runs in the 4th from Cotuit, adding on the pad. 1-1. Fastball taken the opposite way. Foul down the line and left. Seymour gets ahead in the count 1-2. Casey Schmitt has 2 home runs for the Kettleers. Dante Williams with an RBI single. Those productive players the difference right now. Mervis walks off first, held on by Cavadas. Seymour ready at the letters, posts up the left leg, and delivers. Curveball poked into left. Weimer's under it for out number 1. That time Anu stays back on the breaking pitch and send it the opposite way. But it was playable for Weimer, and Seymour gets out number 1 out of the bullpen here in the 5th.
That's a great swing from Anu, though, after swinging through curveballs to strike out the first 2 at-bats. As you said, Sam, waits back on that one, drives it the other way. And that's something he's changed as the season's gone on. He's made adjustments on the fly, and that's why you've been seeing him strike out less and put some more balls in play.
1 on with 1 out for Casey Schmitt. First pitch from Carson Seymour, a fastball that runs inside, ball 1. Schmitt 2 for 2, 2 solo home runs, both of them to deep left field, and he killed both of them. Likely to be on as a closer in this ball game as well, so he's going to have to do it both ways. 1-0. Downhill fastball in the dirt. Harrington sheds the mask and makes sure that Mervis stays put. He does. 2 balls and no strikes. Kettleers seeking their 17th Cape League championship in franchise history. Most of all time. A chance to win it all in front of the home crowd for the first time since 1995. 2-0 out of the stretch. Chop past Mike Roberts at third base, foul. 2-1. Mike Roberts already has won this Cape League title 2 times. Once as an underdog in 2010 with big leaguers like James McCann, Nick Tropiano, and Mike Yastrzemski, the grandson of the Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski. The last club to win it all for the Kettleers, Roberts' 2013 side that beat Orleans in 3 games. Here's a 2-1. Fastball way inside, and it pegs Schmitt right in the back. Seymour runs in and hits the batter with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Schmitt walks down to first base, ripping off his batting gloves. Harrington goes out to Seymour to make sure that he calms him down. And Mervis goes up to second. An opportunity for Cotuit to build on a 2-run lead, up 4-2 with 1 out in the 5th and 2 on.
Big spot for the Kettleers to try to answer back, and this is one of the guys you'd want at the plate. He's been putting the ball in play so consistently in an RBI opportunity. The bad news is Matt Mervis at second base isn't quite a burner, so it might need a gapper here to give the Kettleers another run.
Mervis leads at second. Kettleers lead 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th. 2 on with 1 out, and here's Colton Kessler from the left side. 0 for 1, reached on an error and scored in the 4th. He takes a wild fastball in the dirt, 1 ball and no strikes. Kess walked in the 1st and was stranded there. Harwich got 2 in the 4th. It's now a 2-run ball game. Kettleers have the lead and a chance to add on to it here. Kessler, the native of St. Louis, bats from the left side opposite Seymour. West Coast kid from California. 1-0 fastball, down and in at the ankles. 2 balls and no strikes. Cotuit in their maroon warm-up uniforms on top of the white pinstripe pants. Harwich in the road blue tops on gray pants, trimmed in red. Schmitt on first, Mervis on second. Seymour's ready at the letters. Pulses the mitt, leg lift in the 2-0. 96 miles an hour in the dirt. Kessler way ahead in the count, 3-0. Not only has Colton Kessler made a ton of contact in this postseason, but he's just gotten a lot more patient as well.
Has not chased. He was striking out at an enormous rate early in the season, maybe one of the highest on the team. But he's shortened up, been more patient, and it's a good recipe for a guy who wanted to cut down on his strikeouts.
Seymour's 3-0. Fastball spotted at the knees for a strike. He took a little bit off of it, 90 miles an hour. That moves the count to 3-1. Schmitt, a hit batsman on first. Mervis singled, he's on second. Cotuit on top, 4-2 in the 5th. Only 1 out. Seymour looks back. Here's a 3-1. Fastball swatted back into the parking lot, foul. That loads up the count, 3-2 now. Lowell Park, noted as one of the most beautiful ballparks in the Cape League. Its only downfall might be its really small parking lot, and it is packed up. That's about as tight as you can get it right here today for this Game 2 in the title series. Thankfully, no cars got in on that one. Here comes a 3-2. Fastball above the belt. Ball 4. Seymour walks Kessler to load up the bases for Parker Chambers with only 1 out in the 5th. Cotuit had the bases loaded in the 4th inning. The Kettleers got 2 runs on 3 hits. Although Nick Gonzalez grounded into a double play that left 3 on. Now it's Parker Chambers who has a chance to break it open again. Bases loaded with 1 out. In time called by Harwich. Another mound visit. Carson Seymour met by one of the pitching coaches. Activity in the bullpen right now. A right-hander is getting loose out in right field. All this began with the leadoff single by Matt Mervis. Then Arajanu flew out to left field for out number 1. Seymour has struggled with control since. He hit Casey Schmitt and then just walked Kessler with a full count to load up the bases for the dangerous Parker Chavers, who's 1 for 2 with a single his last time up. The mound visit breaks up. The entire Harwich infield scatters back to their positions. Sean Harrington walks back behind the plate. Jeff Merzell signals up to the press box. Second mound visit for Harwich used so far this afternoon. Kettleers knocking on the door in Game 2 of this championship series. 1 out, bases loaded. First pitch to Chavers. Fastball on the inside corner for a strike. 0-1. 4-2 Kettleers. Parker Chavers has been hot in the postseason with 9 hits and 30 at-bats. Here's the 0-1. Fastball tipped off the end of his bat, foul. No balls and 2 strikes.
Curious to see the middle of the infield back here. Chavers flies down the line. It's going to have to be a hard-hit ball and a quick turn to get 2 and keep this lead at 2 runs for the Kettleers. You'd figure that Harwich might want to bring the entire infield in.
Cavadas and Terada in on the corners. Middle infielders back. 2-strike pitch. Breaking ball. Smashed to straightaway center. Noisy's got a beat on it. He catches for out number 2. Mervis chugs on home from third. And Chavers produces an RBI sac fly to extend the Kettleer advantage. 5-2 good guys here in the 5th inning.
And that was just a bad pitch there from Seymour. He's way ahead 0-2. Had a few pitches to work with. And just hangs a curveball to Chavers, the easiest pitch that you can lift out to the outfield to get the job done. And his fastball has sinking action on it. Could have worked at the knees and below the knees. Made a huge mistake there, and he's lucky that it only cost him 1 run.
Mervis tags and scores from third. The Kettleers now lead 5-2. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning, or 2 outs rather. And a runner on first still in Kessler, who stayed put on that fly ball. Casey Schmitt advanced to third safely on the play. First and third with 1 out, and here's Adam Oviedo. Veteran Kettleer, who's 0 for 1 today with a walk his last time up. Cavadas holds on Kessler. Terada plays back at third. First pitch from Seymour. Cut and a miss on a low fastball. Strike 1. 2 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors for Harwich on the road. 5 runs on 6 hits and no errors for the Kettleers at home. Harrington sets outside. Here comes the 0-1. Breaking ball right on the spot for a called strike. 0-2 on Oviedo. Connor McCullough started the game for Harwich. Lasted 4 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. 3 of them solo home runs. He walked 2 and struck out 7. Sean Sullivan still going for the Kettleers. 5 innings, only giving up 2 hits, or 2 runs rather. 0-2 fastball, wild. It gets off of Harrington's mitt. Here comes Schmitt, tossed to Seymour on the cover, and Schmitt safe. The Kettleer dugout fired up on the third base side. Casey Schmitt hustles on home to make it a 6-2 game here in the 5th.
That's a big-time run. Harwich came back to get 2 and cut the lead in half, and just like that, the Kettleers answer back, and it balloons back to 4. And here in the 5th inning, you'll take every insurance run you can get.
It was a close play at the plate. A high fastball that went off the edge of Harrington's mitt. It just scattered behind him long enough to let Schmitt come in, and Seymour was late getting to home. The tag just about a half second too late, and Schmitt scores the 6th run of this game for the Kettleers. Kessler up to second in the process. Runner in scoring position with 2 outs, and Adam Oviedo's in a 1-2 count from the right side. Seymour slightly open out of the stretch. 1-2. Fastball. Roped. Left field. Down for a base hit. Kessler held up at third. He tumbles off the base and then recovers. Adam Oviedo with a hard hit single, ringing into left field to keep the 5th inning going for Cotuit.
I don't know if Kessler tumbled or if that was an athletic sliding stop. Coach Roberts put the brakes on last second. He took a big turnaround, and I think he went into a pop-up slide to stop the momentum and turn back. And knowing Colton Kessler, that's something he would do.
You know, that's actually a really good observation. It was a very graceful tumble, too, for the big man at 6'3", 225. And this big man on the mound and Carson Seymour might be all just about done. Steve Englert comes out to the mound and meets with his big right-hander, looking out to the bullpen. Looks like Harwich is set for a pitching change, and that indeed is the case. Adam Oviedo keeps things moving for the Kettleers here in the bottom of the 5th inning. A 2-out single into left. Kessler's on third as well. Harwich goes into the bullpen. We'll get you the new pitcher when we return. Kettleers 6 and Harwich 2 in the bottom of the 5th. You're listening to the 2019 Cape League Championship on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bullpen for Harwich. Nick Stewart enters the ball game. Right-hander from James Madison University, 6'5", 220 pounds. A junior from Ashburn, Virginia. He inherits runners on the corners with 2 outs. The Kettleers lead 6-2. An RBI sac fly by Parker Chavers to center, and another run came home on a wild pitch. Dante Williams at the plate, and he chops one on the right side. Tough play for Acton, and that's into right field. Kessler scores. Oviedo dives into third base, and he's safe. Cotuit adds on to it. An RBI single by Dante Williams to make it a 7-2 game with 2 outs in the 5th. It does not take long for the Kettleers to pounce on Stewart. Charge that third run of this inning to the initial pitcher who started it in Carson Seymour. He's still responsible for Oviedo, who's up to third base. Williams checks in with his second RBI hit of the day. He's on first base. 7-2 Kettleers. First and third again with 2 outs, and here's Cody Pasek. Stewart ready at the letters. Leg lift and the first pitch. Time called right before it. Jeff Merzell started walking out right when Stewart let it go. And no pitch on Pasek. Cody's 0 for 2, struck out swinging twice against Connor McCullough. Seymour's first pitch. Fastball down and in this time. 1 ball and no strikes. Williams a threat to run at first. Held on by Cavadas. 5 stolen bases this season. He had 7 of them in the spring at the University of Arizona. Stewart's 1-0. Fastball roped on the ground. It skips past Williams, and that's into right field for a base hit. Cody Pasek drives in Adam Oviedo, and the Kettleers keep it moving here in the 5th to make it 8-2.
And the hometown guy comes through again. Kettleers piling on, and this is what you got to do. They could not cash in on the bases loaded opportunity with no outs, but now they pile on. And against a team like Harwich, even though they've struggled offensively, as wacky as yesterday's game was, you can never have too many insurance runs in a championship.
Kettleers by 6 now. It's 8-2 at Lowell Park in a never-ending bottom of the 5th inning. 2 outs, and here's Nick Gonzalez, the 9th batter to come to the plate in this frame. Runners on the corners again, and Stewart delivers out of the stretch. Breaking ball, poked on the right side again. Base hit, Cotuit. Williams scores, and it's 9-2 to the Kettleers in the 5th. Nick Gonzalez, a short, sweet swing, and he got it off the end of the bat, right through that wide-open right side with Cavadas holding on the runner. And the Kettleers have strung together 3 consecutive RBI hits. All of the hits coming against Stewart. And 4 of the runs that have come home in this inning charged against Carson Seymour. 2 on with 2 out. Here's Matt Mervis again. The first pitch changeup on the inside corner for a strike. Mervis singled and scored to begin this inning. That was on the sac fly by Chavers. 5 runs already home for the Kettleers in the 5th. 9-2 Cotuit, 2 on with 2 out. Infield playing back. Here's the 0-1. Curveball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Kettleers have had plenty of big-time damaging innings to their opponents at the plate. You think back to that 22-2 win against Wareham. They had 3 of them in that game that went for 5+, and they've got a 5 runs here in the 5th of the championship. Hard ground ball right side again, past Cavadas, and that's into right field. Here comes Pasek, no throw home. Kettleers up 10-2 on an RBI by Matt Mervis.
And they're just piling it on here, and this is an example of what we were talking about. 15-inning game yesterday, and it looked like Harwich got the brunt of that with their pitching staff dwindling. And here it is. They're running into a brick wall. And they're throwing out basically anyone they have from the bullpen. Not working so well so far.
Four consecutive base hits to the right side by the Kettleers to score a run here in the fifth. And you can start to feel it here at Lowell Park. First and third with 2 outs will do it again. Arajanu at the plate for the left side. First pitch curveball from Stewart upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Anu flew out to left field for the first out of this inning. 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Stewart pitching on short rest. He pitched on Tuesday in the Game 1 win over YD. Fastball down in the dirt, 2 balls and no strikes. Rather, he pitched on Wednesday, the game before Game 1 of the championship series, and he pitched 3 innings in that game against 9 batters. He was terrific. Obviously, Steve Engler trying to give his team what he would think the best position to win, and right now the Kettleers making them pay for it. 2-0 count on Anu. Stewart lets it fly. Fastball chopped out to short, and Hughes scoops it in the grass of the outfield. Oh, he guns it over to first. Nice recovery by Hal Hughes. Had to go back on that baseball, and he fired it over to first.
What a play.
Just in the nick of time to get Arajanu. And that's out number 3 to finally cap off the 5th inning. But a big ovation on the third base side for the Kettleers fans. It's coming. You can taste it at Lowell Park. Cotuit 10 and Harwich 2. We're through 5, and we'll be right back with the 6th in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Kettleers blow this thing open in the bottom of the 5th. Sean Sullivan back out for the 6th after a long rest. First pitch to Joey Weimer's chopped out to shortstop. Backhanded by Oviedo. Throw off his back foot across the diamond is in time. What a play by Oviedo to retire Joey Weimer, busting it up the line, 1 away here in the 6th.
Great play by Adam Oviedo. He answers the play made by Hughes to end the 5th, and a good throw by him off his back foot deep in the hole.
And now it's Pat Winkle, yesterday's hero for the time being, until the Kettleers took it in the 15th. Breaking ball inside. It seemed like every time the Kettleers took the lead, it was Pat Winkle who answered. Finished with 5 runs driven in. The 1-0. Breaking ball just misses up and out, 2-0. Sullivan getting the ball here, and a potential clinching, championship clinching game. Game 2 of the championship series in the Cape League. Poked out into left field, Chavers back towards the shadows by the wall and makes a grab for out number 2.
Well, the electricity at this ballpark just sparked through that big 6-run 5th inning for Cotuit. The Kettleers have pounded into the Harwich pitching. McCullough couldn't beat him. Seymour couldn't beat him. Stewart certainly did not beat him. You go back to the first round, the Cape League Pitcher of the Year, Ian Bedell, couldn't touch him. Nor could Brandon Fott. The Kettleers have done a terrific job at the plate all playoffs long, and they've got double digits again with a chance to clinch it.
Breaking ball just misses high, 1-0. Sullivan just 18 years old, the only player on the Kettleer team born after 2000. Fastball fouled away. The Kettleers are trying to win their first Cape League title at home, clinching it at home, since 1995, or otherwise 5 years before Sean Sullivan was born. Fastball misses up and in, 2-1.
It's pretty crazy when you think about that.
And he's closer to 2001, October of 2000. But Sullivan has been dynamite for the Kettleers all through the regular season, won the Pitcher of the Year award for his team, and has been the guy in the postseason as well. Fastball outside corner, 2-2. Here to Hal Hughes, who made a phenomenal play to end the 5th inning. He got caught in between a chopper, ended up on his back foot, scooped it on a short hop, and basically threw it flat-footed across the diamond. Spoils away a breaking ball, 2-2. Sullivan in 88 pitches now. Out of the windup, kicks and deals another 2-2. Swing and a miss on a changeup. Sean Sullivan sets down the side in order in the top of the 6th. Kettleers are 3 outs closer, but they're going to try to add some more. It's 10-2. We'll go into the bottom of the 6th. Lowell Park. Kettleers lead 1-0 in the series. A win today would bring them their first title since 2013. Casey Schmitt here, the cleanup hitter, then Colton Kessler, and Parker Chavers here against a new pitcher. It's a left-hander, Cam Bauman, making his first appearance of the postseason. Bauman out of the windup, kicks and deals. Fastball popped up, hooking out of play. 0-1 here to Casey Schmitt, who's 2 for 2 with a pair of solo shots, and he was hit by a pitch in the 5th and later scored. 3 of the 10 runs have been scored by Casey Schmitt. Righty on lefty here. The 0-1. Breaking ball out of the strike zone. Tailed away there, a changeup. Bauman works mid to high 80s. Slider and a changeup as the secondary pitches. 1-1. That's lifted, hooking, and foul down the left field line. Had the distance. Land in the Kettleers bullpen. Now Casey Schmitt has caught fire here in this ball game today, and since the end of yesterday's ball game, picked up a big single off of flamethrower Joe Boyle. Turned 100 miles per hour right back up the middle. Behind 1-2 though, the pitch. That's lifted out into center field. Going back is Noisy towards the wall, and he makes the grab. Schmitt just missed home run number 3. Noisy makes that grab about 10 feet from the fence in center field. Schmitt locked in at the plate, and you expect him to be locked in on the mound. He's expected to be the guy who picks up the final outs here for the Kettleers if they maintain this lead. 6th inning, bottom of the 6th, 1 out, 10-2 Cotuit. 10 runs on 11 hits, just 2 runs on 6 hits for the Mariners. Out of the windup here to Colton Kessler, the first pitch. Breaking ball, called strike at the knees, 0-1. Kessler, the catcher from Kentucky, DHing all postseason long. Cody Pasek doing the duties behind home plate. He's 0 for 1, but he's reached base in all 3 appearances. Chops one back up the middle, and that sneaks through for a base hit. Kessler singles here with 1 out, and he's aboard. With that single, Kessler matches his hit total for the entire regular season in the postseason. That's his 9th hit in the postseason. He had 9 hits all regular season long. What a postseason it has been, and what a turnaround for Colton Kessler.
This guy has been unreal and instrumental in the Kettleer lineup throughout the playoffs. They could not have done it so far without him.
9 hits in 22 at-bats in the postseason. He had just 9 hits in 65 at-bats in the regular season. Now Parker Chavers. Fastball in the dirt, gets past Harrington, but not far enough for Kessler to advance. Harrington pounces on it and delivers it back to his pitcher, Bauman. Lefty-lefty matchup here for Chavers, who's 1 for 2 with a single and an RBI sac fly. The sac fly came in the 5th. Chavers has hit safely in every postseason game. The 1-0. Changeup misses low, now 2-0. Chavers, the outfielder from Coastal Carolina, has been one of the focal points of the offense for the Kettleers. The 2-0. Swing and a miss through a breaking ball. Now 2-1. Chavers had 5 regular season home runs, added 2 more in the postseason. Middle of the infield playing for the double play. Chavers quick at the plate. They'll have to turn it quickly. 2-1 breaking ball. Just misses inside. Now 3-1. Harwich came into this series having only surrendered 4 runs in the entire postseason. They've given up 10 in this game alone, 17 overall. Ground ball chopped foul down the first base line. The Kettleers have more than quadrupled the runs that Harwich has allowed in the postseason in just these, not even 2 games. It's a game and a half as we are in the middle of the 6th inning here. The 3-2. Swing and a miss on a nice slider there from Bauman. He bounces back to set down Chavers for the 2nd out of the inning. And now it's Adam Oviedo. Oviedo, the veteran, his 2nd season with the Kettleers, led the way for his team yesterday with 4 hits, 4 for 7, with the game-tying RBI in the 9th. Set to transfer from TCU to Oral Roberts, and he'll have a lot of momentum going into his new school this fall. First pitch to Ovi. In the dirt, blocked. 1-0.
Well, Adam Oviedo's best moment in this postseason run was last night with the game-tying hit in the 9th. You want to go back to Kessler's best moment. I think you got to go back to Game 3 of the first round against Wareham, in which he worked a walk with the bases loaded on a 3-2 count against Brandon Fott.
1-0, strike on the inside corner. That was a great at-bat, a battle back and forth, and laid off of a borderline breaking ball. He showed so much more poise and plate discipline.
And it was huge because it got fought out of the game, and it gave the Kettleers a little bit of breathing space to go up 3-1 at the time, and they got into the Wareham bullpen.
The 1-1, nubbed foul over by the first base dugout, now 1-2. And Oviedo has really enjoyed a turnaround in the second half of the season. He was hitting as low as 213 on July 17th. Finished the regular season 13 for 40. That's a 325 clip. To finish the season batting over 250. And he's been even better in the postseason. Came into this game hitting 360, 9 for 25. And has another hit today. The 1-2. Line drive hooking foul and off of Coach Roberts in the coach's box. Hope he's all right. You could hear the loud exhale from the Kettleer crowd, but Roberts gives the thumbs up and a smile. He's just running on adrenaline. He said he hardly slept last night. Watched the sunrise here at Lowell Park. And another battle wound for Coach Roberts. Glad he's okay.
Rarely do you see Mike Roberts smile in the middle of a game like that, and it's great to see him having some fun.
The 1-2 again. Swing and a miss. Got him on a fastball, and that ends the sixth inning. Bauman able to escape, and Strand Kessler at first. One hit, one left on, no runs and no errors. Will go into the seventh. Kettleers creeping towards their first title since 2013. It's 10-2. Sullivan back out on the mound. He's encroaching on 90 pitches. And his first pitch fastball is a strike to Mike Ludwig. Bottom third of the order for Harwich. It's 7-8-9. Mike Ludwig, Riley Terrata, then Sean Harrington. The 0-1. Started his swing but held up on a changeup that missed away. 1-1. Ludwig, the right fielder from Wake Forest. DH'd yesterday. In the outfield today with Lanzilli not playing, his Wake Forest teammate. Chases a fastball up, swings through it. 92 on the gun here from Sullivan. In the seventh inning, maintaining his velocity. Sully surrendered 2 runs, both on solo shots. That's been all the damage so far, and a swing and a miss. Ludwig set down swinging. And Sullivan picks up a big first out here in the seventh, his 6th strikeout.
Sean Sullivan has been dialed in. He minimized the damage, only made the 2 mistakes in the 5th inning, and he has just been cool and collected out there, dancing to the beat of his own drum. He works so fast. It's been his game, and he has commanded every aspect of it.
First pitch breaking ball, called strike. Sullivan pumping in strikes. 57 strikes as opposed to 37 balls. Sullivan was out of the windup, but Terada called time. He had to hold it up right as he was getting ready to throw. So we'll wait the 0-1 offering here to the third baseman getting the start today. He came into the ball game after Galland exited with an injury. He was hit up and in trying to square to bunt. A pitch got away and hit him in the face. Breaking ball fouled away, 0-2. Good to see Chris Galland at the ball game today. He was out celebrating with Nico Cavadas after he homered. So that's a good sign. Likely dealing with a concussion or something along those lines. That pitch hit him right around the jaw-cheek area. Unfortunately, the Boston College outfielder's all right. Terada's homered in this one of the only 2 runs, both solo shots. He's behind 0-2. Breaking ball misses 1-2. 1 for 2 for the third baseman, who bats from the right side here against Sullivan. The 1-2 misses low, now 2-2. Kettleers have 60 runs now in the postseason. The Mariners have just 21. The 2-2 just misses outside. Pasek framed it. You could hear a few Kettleer faithful wanting to call there, but now it's 3-2. The Kettleers have scored more runs in this postseason than the Mariners have hits, with just 35. The 3-2 fouled away. Actually almost double the runs than the Mariners have hits. Any way you look at it, you can get down the rabbit hole, and the numbers are staggering. The Mariners reached the finals based on pitching. The Kettleers a little of everything, but mostly their juggernaut offense. The payoff again. Lifted out into center, or right field, and past anew towards the wall. That's going to be extra bases. Terada coasts into second with a stand-up double. He goes the other way here with 1 out against Sullivan, and he's in scoring position now for the 9-hitter, Sean Harrington.
Seems like Terada has been the only guy that's been able to get to Sullivan today with a couple extra base hits. He just was able to tug that one down the right field line, and nothing hurt for Cotuit. Already up 8 runs in this one. You just got to make sure you trust your defense behind you if you're Sully.
Terada on second, his second hit of the ball game. And now Sean Sullivan tries to pick up a second out. Fastball misses up and out. Sean Harrington will be a senior at Babson College, Division III school, in the NESCAC, just outside of Boston. The 1-0 popped up, tailing, out of play and over the third base grandstand, 1-1. (10-2) here in favor of the Kettleers. An 8-run cushion. They need 8 more outs to lock down their 17th Cape League title. The 1-1 fouled away again right around the same area into the parking lot by the third base grandstand. Now 1-2. Sullivan has topped 100 pitches now in this one. Likely his final start of the summer, no matter what. Even if Harwich pulled off the miracle comeback, he'll be shut down and get ready for the fall over at Cal Berkeley. 1-2, lined out into the right center gap. Coming around third and scoring is Terada. And it's 10-3 now. Harwich gets one back.
Nothing hurt for Sean Sullivan. He only went 7 innings once this year, and that is his accomplishment in the Cape Cod Baseball League as a pitcher. He did it back on July 23rd in a game that the Kettleers tied in against Bourne, and what an admirable effort by him today. Just 18 years old, and he rose to the occasion every time this summer. Nothing changed here on the big stage of the championship.
And it looks like his day is done after that base hit. Coach Roberts goes to the bullpen. The entire third base grandstand full of Cotuit fans are on their feet, waiting for him to depart from the mound. Incoming is Nick Jones, and we'll await that standing ovation that the Kettleers ace is going to get one last time here at Lowell Park. He shakes Cody Pasek's hand, gives him a big hug, and he makes his way off the field The Kettleer faithful, all on their feet. A rousing applause for the sophomore from Cal Berkeley, who's smiling ear to ear. He takes his cap off and waves to the crowd. Sullivan in line for the win here. If the Kettleers can hold on to this lead. We'll have more on Nick Jones, the new pitcher, on the other side of this break. And he faces a new hitter, a pinch hitter. It's Christian Fedko hitting for Dylan Noisy, the leadoff hitter in this ballgame. Jones pumps in a fastball. It gets past Pasek, and coasting into second is Harrington. Well, Harrington plated the third run of the ballgame for the Mariners. That chased Sean Sullivan, but what a moment that was. Made his final start here, unless he comes back next summer. You never know. That guy could be well on his way to Team USA. But his last start of the summer, potentially leading the Kettleers to a championship, as the 1-0 misses in the dirt, Pasek blocks, and comes off with the entire Kettleer crowd, all 2,000 to 3,000, maybe more, on their feet for the 18-year-old from Cal Berkeley. The 2-0 here to the pinch hitter, Christian Fedko. The pitch fouled straight back. Now 2-1. Jones, a tall 6'6" left-handed pitcher from Georgia Southern. He was one of the later rivals for this team, and he has been good in the postseason. 2 appearances, 3 2/3 innings. He struck out 3, pitched to a 2.45 ERA. The 2-1. Popped up, twisting foul, and out of play, now 2-2. 6'6", 205. The junior from Georgia Southern, a walk-on. A great story. Coach Roberts said his story is admirable, and he really pulls for guys like that. Richard Burton, the Division III arm yesterday, that was the hero. Trey Holland, another Division III arm, was the hero in the West Division Finals. A lot of unsung heroes for the Kettleers. 2-2, swing and a miss. Down goes the pinch hitter Fedko for out number 2.
Nick Jones has been a baller in this postseason, as you just described, Arm. Guy has exceeded expectations. It was a bumpy ride for him in his regular season debut. Remember, he walked 6 and let up 6 runs in Wareham at the end of the regular season. Ever since, he's adjusted, stayed true to himself, and has been a huge boost.
Now Nico Cavadas, who takes a breaking ball outside. Cavadas homered his second hit, in the postseason. The first hit came today as well, a single in the first. He tied for the regular season lead with 9 home runs. Breaking ball misses out, now 2-0. It was an opposite field jack for Nico. He was tied with 9 home runs with Brewster's TJ Collette as the home run champion, the joint home run champions this summer. The catcher Harrington out at second. He singled to plate the third run of the ball game for the Mariners. Breaking ball misses. Now 3-0 here to the 2-hitter Nico Cavadas. Jones looking to pump in a strike. He's got a 7-run cushion. Walks don't do anybody any good here. The 3-0. Fastball misses. There's a walk. So Cavadas aboard, and that'll give Corey Acton a chance here in the 7th inning. Acton from the University of Florida. Went to high school at American Heritage in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Will be a sophomore for the Gators. Played third base most of the regular season, a little bit of second base. The first pitch, fouled away off the dugout on the third base side. 0-1 to Acton. A 36th round pick out of high school, elected to attend Florida and replace Jonathan India, the 5th overall pick by the Cincinnati Reds in last year's draft. The 0-1. Catches the outside corner, 0-2 to Acton. Acton's brother played college baseball at Villanova. His father was a professional hockey player in the NHL. The 0-2. Curveball misses inside. Jones started towards the dugout. He thought it was strike 3. But Jeff Merzel behind the plate disagreed. So that's ball 1, 1-2. Nick Jones trying to get the final out here in the 7th inning and strand the 2 runners aboard. Sean Sullivan responsible for the runner on second. Jones responsible for the runner Cavadas on first. The 1-2. Just foul tipped out of the mid of Pasek. If Jones can get the final out here, Sullivan's line would stay at 6 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. He's well in line for the victory here. Acton 4 of 18 in the postseason. A breaking ball, swing and a miss. Make it 4 of 19, and Jones sets him down. End of the 7th inning now. The Kettleers are 6 outs away. We'll go into the bottom of the 7th. Kettleers try to add some more. Bottom 7 10-3 Kettleers. It's Dante Williams, Cody Pasek, then Nick Gonzalez. First pitch swinging is Williams, and it's through the wickets of Corey Acton and into right field. Score that in E4. Dante Williams aboard to start off the 7th.
Dante Williams just had some luck on that right side of the infield. It's the second time he's gotten one through. First one was an RBI hit. That time it's an error. The Kettleers have just had all the luck. Lady Luck has been on their side here at Lowell Park this afternoon.
And a sure-handed middle infield for the Mariners between Acton and Hughes. 2 errors, 1 each. Now Williams on first base, and it's Cody Pasek, the hometown kid. Steps off, checks on Williams. Pasek singled in his last at-bat, 1 for 3. Lefty-lefty matchup here. First pitch, breaking ball, just misses inside. 1-0 here. Third baseman Terada playing in on the grass. It was Fedko who pinch hit for Noisy, but it's Max Marshak who comes into center field to replace Noisy on defense. So Fedko is burned from the bench. Called strike there, now 1-1. 85 there on the gun from Bauman. He sits around 85 to 87, a 3-pitch mix with the fastball, slider, and changeup. The MVP, Nick Gonzalez, waits on deck. Even count 1-1 to Cody Pasek with Dante Williams on first. The pitch. Swing and a miss through a breaking ball, now 1-2. The Kettleer crowd here can feel it. They're inching closer to that elusive 17th title that leads the entire Cape League. The 1-2. Breaking ball chopped out to shortstop. Hughes takes it himself to 1. The throw to first for 2. Double play here unassisted there from Hal Hughes. And just like that, 2 outs, nobody on. And it's Nick Gonzalez.
You never know. Cotuit could do more damage at the plate, but this might be the last time that Kettleer fans ever get to see Nick Gonzalez bat in the Cotuit pinstripes at Lowell Park. He has been a total treat, Cape League MVP all the way, and everybody who's watched him this summer has gotten a glimpse of a future big leaguer.
What a pleasure this man has been to watch as he takes a breaking ball for a strike. 10 for 20 in his last 20 at-bats coming into this one. The MVP led in virtually every offensive category, and if he didn't, you could bet he was in the top 5. As he swings through a fastball, nothing in 2. The reigning batting champion in Division I as a sophomore, hit .432. As a junior, excuse me. Now he'll be ready to be a junior and poised for a phenomenal season. Can't wait to see what Nick Gonzalez is going to do at New Mexico State this year. Breaking ball misses in the dirt, 1-2.
If I were him, I wouldn't even want to go back to aluminum bats. I mean, he's going to rake regardless, and he's going to boost that average over 400 again, but he is just as good with a wood bat, and that's what he's going to be using for a long time.
And any doubts people had about the air in New Mexico or in the West Coast, the ball carries more, you can forget about it, but Gonzalez strikes out there. The broadcaster's jinx stays true, but nonetheless, Gonzalez has had a phenomenal season, and the Kettleers need 6 more outs to lock this one down. Sam Niederman will take you the rest of the way. Thanks for staying with us. 6 more outs to go.
to Cotuit. 8th inning at Lowell Park. You can taste it. 10-3 Kettleers over Harwich. Cotuit's back in the field, and it's 4, 5, and 6 due up for Harwich, beginning with Joey Weimer, who takes a strike on the outside corner. Sam Niederman alongside Arm Layton in the booth. Nick Jones still on the hill for Cotuit. He got the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. Picking up Sean Sullivan, who went a strong 6 1/3, only allowing 3 runs. Curveball from Jones, waving a miss by Weimer. No balls and 2 strikes.
And that's the way to get Weimer. He's got so much movement in his swing, and it gets pretty long at times that he swings through those breaking balls, chases them, and that's the way to set him down. He's a fastball hunter.
Jones at 6-6, ready at the belly button. 0-2 fastball, pierced out into right field. Anu tracks back over to the wall, and it bounces off the wall. Weimer sprints into second. He stops there with a leadoff double to begin the 8th.
And there's the point exactly. You get him to swing through 2 breaking balls, try to blow a fastball by him, and he pokes it the other way. You got to go back to the curveball there against a guy like Weimer, and he makes you pay for trying to blow one by him.
Joey Weimer Jr. with his 2nd hit of the ball game, now 2 for 4. An opposite field double to start off the top of the 8th. Kettleers in the driver's seat, leading 10-3 in Game 2 of the Cape League Championship. Only 6 more outs needed for Cotuit to bring home their 17th title. Here's Pat Winkle. He takes a fastball right at the belt for a strike. Winkle's 1 for 3, singled in the 2nd, flew out to right field in the 4th, and then flew out to left field in the 6th. Casey Schmitt even with the base path at 3rd. Oviedo shades Weber at 2nd. On 1 breaking ball, knocked out a play foul on the left side. 0-2 on Winkle. The Kettleers got off to a hot start in this one. Solo home runs by Mervis and Schmitt in the 1st inning to make it 2-0. Then 2 more runs in the 4th to go up by 4. Harwich got 2 back in the 5th. Breaking ball outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Winkle. But then the Kettleers tacked on a 6 spot in the 5th inning. 4 consecutive RBI base hits by Williams, Pasek, Gonzalez, and Mervis. Now it's 10-3 in the 8th. 1-2, curveball, check swing. He went around, according to the third base umpire, Mike Finn. Cody Pasek tags Winkle for good measure, and that's out number 1 here in the 8th.
1 out closer, just need 5 more. And it's towards the bottom of the order here for Jones.
Nick Jones gave up the leadoff double to Weimer, who's on 2nd base with 1 out in the top of the 8th inning. Kettleers lead 10-3. And here's Hal Hughes, the number 6 batting shortstop. First pitch, fastball right off the chalk, ball 1. Looks like Evan Justice, the left-hander out of NC State, is up in the Kettleer bullpen if needed. Jones looks back to Weimer, chopping the feet off 2nd. 1-0 fastball, looped into the air down the right field line. Mervis runs back and couldn't catch it, going over his shoulder and foul ground. 1-1 now on Hughes. You can barely see Justice down a sea of Cotuit fans in lawn chairs scattered up that left field line. They are packed in deep on the concourse on the first base side. Nobody is left on the third base grandstand. This village itching for a championship. Hasn't happened at home in 24 years. You'd have to go all the way back to the golden days in 1995 when Mike Coots's club won their first. 1-1 breaking ball outside. Hughes ahead in the count, 2-1. Kettleers would win a 2nd under Coots in 1999. That was with future big leaguer Garrett Atkins. 2 more in this century under Mike Robertson, 10-13. 2-1 fastball, flown the opposite way again, sinking out a play foul. Even count now, 2-2. There's been a magic to this club all season long. It started in Wareham getting the monkey off their back in the 1st round, winning their first playoff series since 2014. Then a sweep of Falmouth for the West pennant. 2-2. Fastball fought away, foul again by Hughes. We'll do it again. Last night, one to remember. A classic in Cape League history. Both teams went all out for it, and the Kettleers came on top in Game 1, 7-6 in a 15-inning marathon. Weimer's on 2nd after the leadoff double. 1 out in the 8th, 10-3 Cotuit. Jones at 2-2. Wild fastball up and out. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Hughes. Last night's ball game, the second longest Cape League playoff game on record. The only one longer was an 18-inning game between Harwich and Orleans in 2011. That was in an East semifinal. Nobody holds Weimer. 3-2. Fastball turned on down the left field line and hooked out a play foul. Hughes continues to battle. 3 balls and 2 strikes still. The little shortstop is 1 for 3 today. Flew out to left field in the second, single in the fourth, and struck out back in the sixth. Some of the shadows starting to etch across the left side of the diamond. Sun setting down behind the trees on the third base side. 3-2. Breaking ball just on the outside corner. Ring him up. Delayed call from Jeff Merzell. Hughes can't believe it, and Jones gets out number 2 here in the 8th. Nick Jones goes with a hook, and it freezes Hughes for a huge out number 2 in the top of the 8th inning. Back-to-back Ks for Jones, who now has 4 of them for all 4 of his outs out of the bullpen. Next up, Michael Ludwig, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Ludwig 0 for 2 today. Walked in the second, grounded into a fielder's choice to end the fourth, and he struck out in the 7th. Weimer on second, 0-1. Fastball spotted on the outside corner. Strike 2. (10-3) Kettleers in the top of the 8th at Lowell Park. Joey Weimer rounds off second. Adam Oviedo backs off behind him. Jones ready. 0-2 fastball, wild and down low at 94 miles an hour. And Pasek stuck it with the glove to keep it from getting to the backstop. 1-2 now on Ludwig. We take a pause. Jeff Merzell, the home plate umpire, dusts off home plate. (10-3) Cotuit in the 8th. Weimer on second with 2 outs for Harwich. Jones a deep breath. 1-2. Breaking ball just off the plate. Ludwig thought about turning the hands on it. Instead, he held up for ball 2. Even count now, 2-2. Defense plays straight up for the Kettleers. Time called on the diamond. Runner on second with 2 outs. Jones at 2-2. Fastball outside. Full count now on Ludwig. This place really wants a strikeout to keep the energy up heading into the bottom of the 8th. That ball was nowhere close, but somebody just shouted out, "Yeah!" from the third base grandstand.
You got to sell it any way possible.
Payoff pitch. Fastball popped up on the left side, and that's into the crowd. You got to sell it indeed. Thousands in attendance for this one. We had 4,832 at White House Field in Harwich last night. Cotuit has matched that, probably have bested that on a Friday afternoon in the Village. Here come the claps. 3-2. Fastball spoiled in the left field. That's down for a base hit. Here comes Weimer. Shavers guns it in from left. One hop to Pasek, and they got him at the plate for out number 3. Parker Shavers on the money. Cody Pasek points to the stands. Kettleers 3 outs away from championship 17 at Lowell Park. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 8th in just a moment. Cotuit 10 and Harwich 3 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Can feel it in Cotuit. Kettleers up 10-3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 2, 3, and 4 due up. Mervis anew, and then Schmitt against the left-hander Cam Bauman. How about the Kettleers defense to finish off that 8th inning? Parker Chavers to Cody Pasek for out number 3.
What a throw from left, but a better play by Pasek at home plate. Not sure if you could catch it from home, but he stood there like there was going to be no play at the plate. The guy coming around third, Weimer, started jogging. He didn't even slide, and then all of a sudden Pasek snagged it and put the tag down. Totally deked him.
Here's Matt Mervis, who takes a curveball from Bauman for strike 1. Pasek was standing like a statue. He might have even had his hands behind his back there.
Totally sold it, and what a savvy play by Pasek.
Unbelievable. Throw was on the money from Chavers, and they got Weimer for out 3. Matt Mervis slices one into the right center gap. That's down for a base hit. Merv aboard for Cotuit to start the bottom of the 8th. He's got his 3rd hit in 4 at-bats.
You had the feeling he was going to break out. He hit the ball hard several times in his 8 at-bats yesterday. Just had nothing to show for it other than the 1 hit. He comes out today and just catches fire.
Cotuit leads it 10-3 in the bottom of the 8th. 1 man on first with nobody out. Here's Arajanu from the right side, 0 for 3. Bauman darts a fastball that skips through Harrington's legs, and that leaks out towards the backstop. Mervis coasts into second base easily on a pass ball. Arajanu actually 0 for 4. He came to the plate twice in the 5th inning. Flew out and grounded out to shorten his last at-bat. Kettleers by 7 with a man on second. Nobody out in the 8th. 1-0 fastball tagged on the inside corner for a strike. 1-1. Mike Roberts walking back and forth in the shadows at third base. His team's 3 outs away. Bauman ready out of the stretch, holding at the chin. 1-1. Changed him up. Wave and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Why not some more offense for a cherry on top at the end of the season? That's been the identity of this club through and through.
60 runs in the postseason. Why not keep it going? Last at bat here, most likely, for some of these guys in a Kettleer uniform.
1-2. Breaking ball, dropped inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bauman putting his hands up to the home plate umpire, Jeff Merzell, saying, "Where was that at, brother?" Was not happy with that call. And now Jeff Merzell takes his mask off and points to the mound and says, "Hey, you can't do that." He's not having any of it. Steve Englert comes out of the first base dugout, shaking his head, says, "All right, let me calm this guy down and just get my infield together." A low and in curveball on a new. That was close, but not close enough, and that made it a 2-2 count. This Kettleer offense has raked its way to the championship in the postseason. 12 playoff home runs, 3 of them coming today. The wheels came up onto the sky early in the first inning. Solo shots by Mervis and Casey Schmitt. Schmidt's got 2 of the 3 home runs. He went yard again in the 4th. And he most likely will be the man on the mound to get the final 3 outs for the Kettleers in the top of the 9th inning. Steve Englert walks back to the first base dugout, takes his perch on the ledge. Cam Bauman settles back in on the rubber. 2-2 on a new. Mervis on second, nobody out. The lefty kicks and deals. Curveball sweeps in at the ankles, 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Kettleers have a 10-3 advantage. Bottom of the 8th. Mervis the leadoff single. He's on second after a wild pitch. Nobody holding on, and now a new calls for time. Bauman posts up, 3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on a slow-moving curveball outside. And that's out number 1 in the home half of the 8th inning. A tough day for Arajanu in Game 2 of this championship series. He's set to wrap up 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, but boy, did he find his swing in the end.
He made his mark, and the Kettleers would not be standing here today if it weren't for him. The 3-run shot yesterday to boost the offense, and he has just been such a focal point.
1 out and a man on second for Casey Schmitt. 10-3 Kettleers in the bottom of 8. Bauman's first pitch. Hard fastball inside at 88 miles an hour. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on Schmitt. 2 for 3 today with a couple of solo home runs. He looks at a curveball called for a strike at the belt, 1-1. Solo shots in the first and the fourth. He was a hit batsman in the 6-run fifth, scored in that inning. Flew out to deep center in the sixth. Hat trick here.
If anyone could do it, it's Casey.
1-1 curveball dusts him off at the ankles, nearly hit him. Harrington gets a piece of it and runs it up the third base line. Hitters count now 2-1. Schmitt, an ultra competitor. Bracketed in a group of top 5 that's ever been coached by Mike Roberts, including Walt Weiss. And Mike Yastrzemski, one of the key pieces on the 2010 Kettleers unit. Mervis on second with 1 out. Bauman looks back, leg lift, 2-1. Fastball, turned back foul behind home plate, 2-2. A constant hum at Lowell Park. Thousands of fans cradled into the centerpiece of this village, just off Main Street on Lowell Avenue. One of the smallest villages represented in the Cape League. Maybe the fan base with the biggest heart. 2-2. Fly ball served into right center field. Noisy tracks in. Same thing with Ludwig, who bags it on the run for out number 2. Kettleers baseball at Lowell Park is the summer entertainment for this community and all the other surrounding villages that feed into the fan base. Osterville, Marston's Mills, which produced Chris Holcomb, by the way, the key left-handed local reliever that has been huge for the Kettleers in this playoff run.
He led the way through the most innings of anybody, 7 2/3 in his 2 appearances, and did not give up a single run. He was the cleanup duty and kept them in 2 ball games.
Not to mention Mashpee just down the road by the Rotary. Feeding into the Cape League's winningest franchise with 16 titles. Moments away from number 17. It's Colton Kessler at the plate. This man has reached in all 4 plate appearances today. 2 walks, 2 runs scored, a single, and he also reached on an error. Mervis on second with 2 outs, 1-0. Fastball up and in, 2 balls and no strikes. Let's see if he can make it a perfect 5 for 5. The catcher out of Kentucky has been a DH all postseason long. He might be able to drive in Mervis to extend this 10-3 Kettleer advantage. 2-0. Fastball called for a strike at the upper thigh. 2 balls and a strike now. Mervis singled to lead off the inning. Advanced to second on a pass ball. Anu struck out and Schmitt flew out to right field. 10-3 Cotuit. The 6-run 5th inning, the difference. Sean Sullivan, 6 1/3 innings as a starter. Bauman open out of the stretch, 2-1. Curveball flown in low, 3 balls and 1 strike. Nick Jones has worked the last inning in 2/3 out of the Cotuit bullpen. Casey Schmitt back on the left side of the dugout, getting ready for his time on the mound in the 9th. Bauman pulses the front right foot, sets it slightly open, turns into 3-1. Curveball way outside in the dirt, and Kessler is aboard for the 5th time in a row this afternoon. He's got another walk, his 3rd, and that keeps the Kettleers home half of the 8th inning going. Kess a long jog down to first base, readjusting the batting gloves. He's ready to give them off to Daniel Huff, the first base coach, who always stocks that gear like he's a Christmas tree or something once there are a lot of runners on base. He takes the batting gloves and backs off into the box. Kessler off first, Mervis on second, Parker Chavers one more time. And he takes a fastball high and in. Harrington unable to catch it cleanly. Able to recover those, shed the mask, and toss it back to Bauman off his back foot. 1 ball and no strikes on Parker. He's 1 for 3 today with a single and a pair of strikeouts. Had an RBI sac fly to spark the 6-run 5th inning. 1-0 home. Fastball right down Broadway. Strike 1. Casey Schmitt now into the bullpen for Cotuit. Right-hander tossing with Jacob Nemeth, the bullpen catcher.
So fitting to have Schmitt pick up those final 3 outs here. The guy's just been the leader in the back end of the bullpen and at the plate.
Bauman's 1-1. Curveball tagged on the inner half of the plate for a strike. Chavers behind now 1-2. The middle of the game, the ballpark was bustling and moving around. People were in and around the concession stand. Now everybody has flooded their attention towards the diamond. Cotuit so close. It's 10-3 Kettleers in the bottom of the 8th. 2 on with 2 out. 1-2 curveball in the dirt. Blocked in the 5-hole by Harrington. 2-2. Adam Oviedo's on deck. Longest tenured Kettleer on this club, making his 98th and most likely his final appearance in the pinstripes this afternoon. Kessler on first, Mervis on second. 2-2 fastball, chopped weakly on the right side. Scooped up by Cavadas, flip over to Bauman. He didn't shuffle there in time. Chavers is safe at first. And the inning keeps on moving for Adam Oviedo and the Kettleers here in the 8th.
And Ovi gets one last at-bat. 2 years in a Kettleer uniform, nearly 100 games. And he finally gets one more at-bat here with a chance to pad the stats a little bit more.
We talked with Mike Roberts before the game, and he got emotional when asked about Adam Oviedo and his game-tying single with 2 outs in the 9th last night. 2 years of hard work this summer in Cotuit paying off for Obi. Swing and a miss at a curveball by Bauman, 0-1. Coach said that he simply has come in, hasn't said much. He's put his head down and gone to work. And he has improved as a core veteran in this postseason run. 10 hits in total, second best on the team. He's 1 for 3 today with a walk. Breaking ball in on the hands for a strike at 66 miles an hour. 0-2 now.
It looked like that was caught right around his ankles. I know it was a high looper, but not sure about that one. Maybe doing the pitcher Bauman a favor as he's been struggling through this inning.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Kettleers at the plate in the 8th, up 10-3. Bauman working out of the windup. Time called right before he starts his motion. Cotuit bleeding out as much time at the plate as they can possibly get in a summer to remember offensively. Here comes the 0-2. Fastball way up at the chin. 1-2. It just seems like Bauman can't find that final strike. He's been on 2 strikes for it seems like every batter that's been on base here. Chavers on first, Kessler on second, Mervis on third. Infield playing back. 1-2. Breaking ball poked in the air to deep right field. Ludwig twists the hips and reaches up to make the grab for out number 3. And the Kettleers leave them loaded here in the bottom of the 8th inning. No runs on 1 hit, couple of hits actually, no errors, and 3 men left on base. And we are going on to the 9th. Cotuit up 10-3 on Harwich. Kettleers 3 outs away from championship number 17, and we'll have that on the other side of this break. This is the 2019 Cape League Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. At Lowell Park, top of the ninth inning, Kettleers 3 outs away from making it a championship summer, leading 10-3 over Harwich, and it's Casey Schmitt who comes onto the mound for the final 3 outs of this one. The right-hander out of San Diego State moves onto the mound from third base. Mason McWhorter goes in off the bench to play first. Matt Mervis moves over to third base, and it's Cam Hill who subs in for Arajanu in right field. 8-9 into 1, standing in the way of Cotuit for Harwich at the plate. Schmitt deals in a fastball upstairs, but Jeff Merzell just called time. No pitch. Now Merzell goes out to talk with the right-hander on the hill. Not sure what the conversation is here, but it wasn't a pitch on Terada.
I think it had to do with how he comes set, whether he holds or not. You see him change up the rhythm on the mound, and he got a warning for it now. I think he's going to make him come set. Some umpires don't really enforce it with nobody on, but it looks like Merzell is going to put his foot down on that one.
Schmitt works out of the set, starts out open looking in for the sign from Pasek. 1 ball and no strikes on Terada. Here's the pitch. Fastball inside. Ball 2. Terada has done the most damage in the Harwich lineup. He is 2 for 3 with a home run and a double. He has scored 2 of the 3 Harwich runs. Infield playing back and straight up. Williams shaded towards left center field. Schmitt set, ready at the chest. 2-0. Wild fastball up at 91 miles an hour. 3 balls and no strikes. Schmitt has been an Iron Man as a two-way player so far this season. Not only was he an all-star at the plate, but also an all-star pitcher. His only postseason appearance before this one in Wareham in round 1 to close out game 3. A 5-inning effort, striking out 7. Needs a strike here and does not get one. 94 miles an hour in on the thighs of Terada. And he's aboard for the 3rd time today with a leadoff walk to start Harwich's 9th inning. Terada goes down to first base, now held on by McWhorter. Here comes Sean Harrington. The catcher is 1 for 3 today with an RBI hit back in the 7th. 10-3 Kettleers in the 9th. Terada off and running. First pitch, a ball outside. 1-0 on the batter in Harrington. Defensive indifference, nobody covering, no throw from Pasek. So Harwich now with the man on second base and nobody out. 10-3 Cotuit. The Kettleers busted it open with 6 runs in the 5th. 1-0 fastball slung in above the belt. 2 balls and no strikes on Harrington. Schmitt yet to throw a strike. 6 balls out of the gate.
And he's not happy with the strike zone so far. He thought that was a strike. And now Coach Roberts is going to go out and probably try to settle him down.
Mike Roberts calmly paces out of the third base dugout. The Kettleers with a comfortable 10-3 lead in Game 2 of this Cape League Championship. Cotuit only needs 3 more outs. Terada walked to lead off the inning, now up to second base on defensive indifference. Jeff Merzell calling the balls and strikes. He hasn't given a strike to Schmitt yet. 2 balls and no strikes on Harrington. The entire Kettleer crew comes in on the mound. Mike Roberts, a quick tap over to Schmitt and says, "You got it." And he goes back to the third base dugout with a grin on his face saying thank you to the home plate up, Jeff Merzell. Some encouragement from the Cotuit fans here on the third base side. Everybody's standing up on the concourse. Grandstand packed up the left side as well, looking on in the shadows. Sun setting down at Lowell Park for one more time this summer. Here comes a 2-0. Wild fastball at the letters. 3 balls and no strikes for Harrington at the plate.
Just got to settle down if you're Casey. Pitching with a 7-run lead. Just got to recapture the strike zone, and the only way they can creep into this one is with walks.
Terada on second, nobody out in the 9th, 10-3 Cotuit. 3-0 fastball, that's on the outside corner. Now he's in there, 3 balls and a strike for Harrington. Schmitt with a big old grin on the mound. He says, all right, here we go. 10-3 Cotuit in the 9th. Terada on second with nobody out. 3-1, swing and a miss. Another fastball at 93 miles an hour. Blazed past Harrington's knees, and now it's 3-2. Kettleers lead by 7. Top 9 at Lowell Park. Schmitt comes set out of the stretch, looks back to Terada. 3-2. Fastball on the inside corner. Strike 3. Casey Schmitt come out and play. Strikeout looking to get Harrington for out number 1 here in the ninth.
Great job to recapture the strike zone. Fell behind 3-0. Just pumped in 3 strikes there. And you get the sense that's all Casey needed. He's probably settled in here. And once he's locked in, he's nearly unhittable.
Harwich's top of the order gets another chance. Max Marshak comes up to the plate. Substitute who came into right field back in the 8th. And he takes a fastball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Kettleers lead 10-3. 1 out in the 9th, man on second in Terada. Cotuit 2 steps away from his 17th Cape League championship. 1-0. Fastball roped out to Oviedo. Jumping play. He's got it for out number 2. And he steps on second himself for out number 3. Flood the diamond with the pinstripes. Hats up into the air. Have a championship, Cotuit. The Kettleers bring home title number 17 to the village. It's a dog pile in front of home plate. Jackson Wolf jumps up. Matt Mervis jumps on top. Fists in the air, and the entire Kettleer third base grandstand looks on. Cell phones taking videos, and Mike Roberts out of the dugout. He's got his 3rd title, and Cotuit has Cape League glory once again.
This team deserved it. They had a magic and aura around them all year long, and they get it done. Unbelievable. It has been so much fun to watch this team play, dominate the playoffs, get hot at the right time. And it's unbelievable to think that this team had not won a postseason game since 2014, finished the regular season 5-15, and then just do that.
They did it. Cotuit celebrating in a maroon mosh pit outside home plate. And an entire village roars on the third base side. Mike Roberts, class all the way, going over to start the handshake line with the Harwich coaching staff and his counterpart, Steve Engler. Harwich looks on from the first base dugout. Adam Oviedo embraces Cody Pasek, who picks up the biggest Kettleer fan of them all, and Matthew Flaherty. Everybody having a great time out there. Cotuit has done it. Championship 17, won at home here at Lowell Park for the first time since 2013. The first Kettleer banner won at home in a decisive game since 1995. And now both teams go into the handshake line. Kettleers sweep Harwich in 2 games, and a great display of sportsmanship here at the end.
Shaking hands, that's what it's all about. A hard-fought series, especially that game 1. Back and forth, so much passion in this 2-game sweep for the Kettleers, but it wasn't your classic 2-game sweep. Back and forth, 10-3 in this one, but you got the sense after game 1, whoever won that one was going to take the series. But game 1 was enough for 2 games for both of us, I think, and wow, what a run.
Mike Roberts in tears behind home plate, embracing with Peter Flaherty Sr., his good friend Tom, a hug with Bruce Murphy, the Kettleers' longtime general manager, a handshake with the ball club's president, Andy Bonaker. Cotuit is a Cape League champion again. Number 17 home for the village. And now all the championship T-shirts come out around the mound. Jackson Wolf has been having a ball out there. He's leading all the celebrations. Some great T-shirts being passed around for the champion of the Kettleers. Everybody's still looking on the left side of Lowell Park. It is a Cotuit celebration. 10-3 your final in game 2. And we'll stand by for the trophy presentation as well. The league president, Chuck Sturdivant, alongside the brand new commissioner, Eric Zamuda, getting ready to present the Arnold Mycock Trophy. A trophy whose namesake was once the Cotuit Kettleers patriarch, longtime GM and architect of this Cotuit franchise as a dynasty. Arnold looking down from somewhere. He's probably smiling and proud. 44 seasons as the GM from 1950 to 1994. The winningest GM in league history with 10 championships. He lifted up the last 2 trophies that bared his name on him in 2010 and 2013 when Mike Roberts won his first 2 trophies here in Cotuit. He's got a third here in 2019. And it is a Sweet 16 for the veteran manager indeed.
A tough season last year that ended in some disappointment. and they bounced back. Coach Roberts really wanted to see some success from his team this year, and you could just tell how much he enjoyed coaching this group. He said it time and time again to us before games, after games, and interviews. He loved this team. He got choked up today even talking about it, and for this group to win together, you could tell they really enjoyed playing with each other, and it was an honor to be able to call games watching these guys play every day.
How fitting that Adam Oviedo, too, in his 98th game as a Cotuit Kettleer, got the final 2 outs. It was a line out to shortstop to end the game off the bat of Max Marshak. And that's how she closes out here at Lowell Park. Cotuit does it in front of their home fans. The Kettleers win by a final of 10-3 to sweep Harwich in 2 games, winning their 17th Cape League title and franchise history. We'll be right back with the post-game wrap to talk even more about it. The celebration continues at LP. This is the 2019 Cape League Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.